Chapter 664. Small World Formation. Fully activate the Genesis cultivation technique. I'm going to activate the energy of the Devil's Bead, Sherbauer said loudly in Yang Hongwu's Sea of Consciousness. Yang Hongwu nodded his head. Fully activating the Genesis cultivation technique, he started to open his own small world. A majestic energy rushed into Yang Hongwu's dantian, condensing a small crystal core in Yang Hongwu's dantian. Then, the small crystal core kept condensing and growing. It was so fast that it felt like his dantian was going to explode. Then, Sherbauer released a pure energy and compressed it. Yang Hongwu heaved a sigh of relief. Damn, this is really damn. If I were to do it, I wouldn't be able to compress it at all. The Codex of Creation began by condensing a realm core crystal. Then, this realm core crystal had to be continuously refined and absorbed enough energy, allowing it to grow. Once it grew to a certain extent, it would begin to be compressed. Only when it was compressed to the extreme could it truly open up a small world. For Yang Hongwu, with the help of the Devil's Bead and Sherbauer, it was equivalent to saving the process of accumulating energy and spiritual energy. On top of that, there was also one less process of compressing. As long as he condensed the realm crystal core, he could directly open a small world. For a martial artist, even if he was in the divine realm or the honorable realm, it would take a long time to accumulate enough energy to open a small world. If he didn't have any fortuitous encounters, it would be impossible in the honorable realm. Moreover, Yang Hongwu was only in the Tao pedestal realm now. When the Earth Demon Emperor saw that Yang Hongwu had fallen into a special state after obtaining the Devil's Bead, he stood there as if he was possessed. His expression kept changing as if he was under great pressure and pain. At first, the Earth Demon Emperor was overjoyed. This damned human brat wants my treasure? Dream on. Now, he's dead for sure. Old Ape, on the other hand, was extremely worried. He glared at the Earth Demon Emperor and said, "Damned demon, what kind of curse did you cast on my master?" "Haha, it's your master who is too greedy. It's not that easy to take what belongs to me, the Earth Demon Emperor." The Earth Demon Emperor laughed heartily. He did not care about this old monkey at all. If it was the terrifying great sage of the demon race, then it would be fine. But this old monkey, no, it was a weak monkey who could not withstand a single blow. The Earth Demon Emperor could easily crush him to death with one finger. "I'll fight you to the death." The old ape was furious and rushed toward the Earth Demon Emperor. "Humph, little monkey, you want to risk your life against me?" The Earth Demon Emperor snorted coldly. He spat out a mouthful of demon chi, which turned into a huge copper hammer and smashed onto the old ape's body. The old ape was sent flying and fell to the foot of the wall, unable to move. However, the Earth Demon Emperor soon stopped laughing, because he found that Yang Hongwu's body was filled with the negative and evil energy from the bead. This energy was originally his tonic, but since his cultivation had regressed and he had suffered great damage, he could no longer suppress it. He would be injured if he absorbed some of it. It was precisely because of this that he gave the bead to Yang Hongwu. But he did not expect that such a majestic evil energy would be released like a torrent. This was really bad. Damn it, this brat, what the hell is he doing? This was too much. This evil energy was affecting him. The Earth Demon Emperor had no choice but to suppress this evil energy. If he did not suppress it, he was afraid that he would be affected by this evil energy. Moreover, if this continued, he was afraid that this evil energy would consign him to eternal damnation. He did not want to become a slave to this evil energy. In fact, the Earth Demon Emperor did not know that this was done by Yang Hongwu and Sherbauer on purpose. This enormous evil energy and negative emotions were too terrifying. That Supreme Devil had killed countless people and experts, and might have even destroyed countless universes and worlds. That was why he gathered all this resentment and evil energy. Ordinary people could not bear it at all. If all of it erupted, even a great saint would not be able to withstand it. Even great emperors would be affected. The Earth Demon Emperor was desperately resisting. At this time, Yang Hongwu had already opened a crack in the realm core with the help of Bauer, opening up a small space. What he needed to do now was to keep expanding this small space. He used the power of the Devil Bead to keep expanding and attacking this small space. This space was expanding at an extremely fast speed. In a breath's time, it had expanded to several hundred feet. This speed was extremely shocking. It was simply unimaginable for ordinary people. This was the enormous power contained in the Devil Bead. Moreover, it had only consumed a drop in the ocean. The small world in Yang Hongwu's body was getting bigger and bigger, and Yang Hongwu's strength was also increasing. Level 8 Dao Foundation Realm. Level 9 Dao Foundation Realm. Peak Dao Foundation Realm. In just a short time, Yang Hongwu's cultivation had already reached the peak of Dao Foundation Realm. This speed was really shocking. Half-step Divine Realm. Finally, Yang Hongwu's strength stopped increasing when he reached the first step Divine Realm. At this moment, the small world in Yang Hongwu's body was already 10,000 feet wide. If those martial artists who had opened up their own small worlds were to know of this, they would probably be ashamed to death. They had just opened up their small worlds, and they had already reached 10,000 feet. What kind of concept was that? They had cultivated for countless years, and after opening up their small worlds, they would grow bit by bit. They might not even be able to grow 10 feet in a day. However, in less than a few hours, his small world was already 10,000 feet wide, and it was still growing. However, Yang Hongwu's small world was different from other people's small worlds. The world origin energy in other people's small worlds was low level. A newly opened world's power was not particularly advanced. However, Yang Hongwu's small world's world origin energy was actually the Devil origin energy. This was the Devil Clan's world origin energy, and it was the world origin energy of the Devil Clan's leader. This kind of world origin energy, in addition to being evil and full of destruction, was a very advanced power. Even with Bauer's protection, Yang Hongwu could feel the horrible negative information, and he had an impulse to kill. This was an impulse that could not be restrained. His eyes became crazed. Yang Hongwu, you have to resist. If you can't resist this negative information, you will become a puppet of the Devil Clan's leader. Bauer's shout appeared in Yang Hongwu's mind. This shout caused Yang Hongwu's entire body to tremble, and his eyes immediately became clear. Chapter 665. First Level of Divine Realm, Scram. Countless figures appeared in Yang Hongwu's mind. They were all terrifying devils. These devils were constantly attacking and devouring Yang Hongwu. Yang Hongwu roared. His mind was clear. All the demons had been killed. He suddenly opened his eyes, and a ray of light shot out. His entire aura changed drastically. His cultivation base had broken through. He directly broke through to the first level of the Divine Realm. At this moment, the small world within Yang Hongwu's body had truly condensed. Although this small world was filled with the power of demons, it was still a small world. Moreover, the demon bead was the source bead of this small world. It constantly released the power of demons to expand the small world. Congratulations on creating your own small world. At this moment, Bauer's voice rang in Yang Hongwu's ears. The Bauer had consumed quite a lot. Yang Hongwu could clearly sense this. Thank you very much. Yang Hongwu thanked him from the bottom of his heart. If it wasn't for Bauer's help, he wouldn't have been able to open up a small world. He might even have been tricked by the Earth Demon Emperor. You're welcome. I just hope that you can help me in the future, Bauer said. Don't worry. I promise you that when my cultivation is high enough, I will definitely fulfill your request. Bauer had once made a promise to Yang Hongwu. He would only fulfill it when Yang Hongwu was strong enough. Although Yang Hongwu didn't know what it was, he had to fulfill his promise. That's enough. You'll have to grasp the wonders of this small world by yourself. I'm going into a deep slumber, so I won't be able to help you for some time. If you have any questions, ask your battle spirit. That little girl knows many things and can give you a lot of help. Yang Hongwu's strength had increased, and he'd established a minor world. As a battle spirit, Ing Xiaorui had obtained enormous benefits. At this moment, her strength had actually risen to the 4th level of the Exalt realm. That was the 4th level of the Exalt realm, and it had risen by 2 levels in an instant. As a battle spirit, it was very difficult to raise one's cultivation by 1 level. It was even more difficult when one reached the honorable realm. On the other hand, Ing Xiaorui had instantly advanced to the 4th level of the Exalt realm. Such speed was truly shocking. Of course, the one who benefited the most was Yang Hongwu himself. His cultivation had broken through to the 1st level of the divine realm. Even if he didn't use the battle spirit possession, he could almost kill a 1st-level venerable realm expert. At least, in this plane of existence, in the ancient domain, a 1st-level venerable realm expert was no match for him. He could easily kill them. Damned human, what have you done? The Earth Demon Emperor looked at Yang Hongwu and was incomparably furious. This damned human had triggered that terrifying evil power and almost caused him to fall and become the devil's slave. How could he not be furious? At first, he thought that he would only study this thing after taking it out. He didn't expect that he would start using it here. Moreover, he could trigger such a huge change. The power of the devil bead was extremely evil. However, as an Earth Demon Emperor, he had no way to trigger it because there was a powerful seal on the bead. He was very clear about this point, so he wasn't worried at all. However, he didn't expect that this damned human would exceed his expectations and actually trigger the seal. Haha, Earth Demon Emperor, you've miscalculated. You wanted to use this bead to deal with me, but you didn't expect that it would give me such a huge benefit. Yang Hongwu looked at the flustered and exasperated Earth Demon Emperor and couldn't help but laugh. This guy had tried to steal a chicken only to end up losing the rice used to lure it. 1st level of the Divine Realm. Humph, so what if you're at the 1st level of the Divine Realm? You're still far from it. In the past, I've killed countless saints, not to mention a mere Divine Realm expert like you. The Earth Demon Emperor snorted coldly. You've already gotten the treasure. Shouldn't you fulfill your promise? The Earth Demon Emperor didn't want to be entangled with this damned human anymore. This damned human was too strange. He had the treasure of the ancestral devil and could even devour the terrifying power of the bead. Could it be that this was caused by the treasure of the ancestral devil? It was very possible that the Earth Demon Emperor had thought of this. The strength of the ancestral devil was extraordinary. In the eyes of the devil race, the ancestral devil was omnipotent. Therefore, if it was really the treasure of the ancestral devil, that bead could really be subdued. Thinking of this, the Earth Demon Emperor was very regretful, but there was nothing he could do. This was simply his fate. He was suppressed by the treasure of the ancestral devil on this damned bastard. After devouring a lot of power, he couldn't suppress the bead that was full of evil power. Therefore, he had no choice but to give it to him. However, all of this was to help that damned human. The Earth Demon Emperor thought of a terrifying thing. This human's luck was too terrifying. Could it be that he was the son of fate of this great tribulation? Was he the one to face it? Every 120,000 years there was a great tribulation. That was when the demons invaded Jiutian and Shidi. Every time the demons invaded Jiutian and Shidi, a person with terrifying fortune was born. They were called the son of fate or the child of destiny. They were born to stop the demons from invading. Over the years the demons had invaded Jiutian and Shidi countless times, but not once had they returned in disappointment. As a result, the demons had done all sorts of research into Jiutian and Shidi. Each time they hoped to conquer Jiutian and Shidi, to enslave the demons and turn it into a pasture for them. Through their research, it became clear that once the demons entered Jiutian and Shidi, their cultivation would be limited. Moreover, the greatest threat was the Son of Fate, or the Child of Destiny. Their power was a greater threat to the demons than the demon hunters. Therefore, if the demons wanted to conquer all of Jiutian and Shidi, they had to find the humans. They had to find the Son of Fate of Jiutian and Shidi. They had to kill him or turn him into a demon. However, this was a difficult task. This time the demons had made a decision. They would do whatever it took to kill the Son of Fate of humanity, or turn him into a demon. Before the devil race truly entered Jiutian Shidi, the people of the devil race had already begun to lay out their plans. This plan had been laid out for a total of 120,000 years. In other words, during the last Great War, they had already made their preparations, and the Earth Devil Emperor was one of the people who laid out this plan. Because every time a child of destiny was born, it was almost always from the ancient region. Therefore, the ancient region was the focus of their attention. Chapter 666. Breaking out of the seal, is that so? Yang Hongwu chuckled. You can easily kill a level 1 divine realm expert. Let's see how you're going to do it. Yang Hongwu would never let this demon go, let alone let him out. The demon hand in his right arm was restless. Previously, it was suppressed by Yang Hongwu. Now that Yang Hongwu had released the suppression on the demon hand, it would naturally be restless. Yang Hongwu realized that the demon hand was definitely not weaker than the devil's bead. In fact, it was even stronger. However, the demon hand had yet to recover. Once it recovered, its strength would be unimaginable. He had many treasures on him. Of course, they could also be time bombs that could explode at any time. At that time, whether he could suppress them or not would depend on his own strength. If he could grow to a certain level, suppressing them would not be a problem. Yang Hongwu was confident about this. However, he was afraid that something would happen in the middle of the process and cause all of them to explode. That would be troublesome. However, these worries were meaningless. Yang Hongwu gathered energy in the demon hand and grabbed at the Earth Demon Emperor. You damn human! Are you trying to break your promise? Aren't you afraid that I'll self-destruct and perish together with you? The Earth Demon Emperor shouted. Perish together? Yang Hongwu sneered. You can try. If you want to self-destruct, so be it. Do you really think that I can't do anything about it? If it was before, I might really be worried about you self-destructing. But now, I'm not afraid at all. This is all thanks to the bead that you gave me. That majestic energy allowed me to open up a small world. What? The Earth Demon Emperor was shocked to the extreme. Using the energy of the bead to open up a small world? This human was a madman. He was definitely a madman. The bead was filled with evil energy. Even if he could only devour a little bit, it would consume a lot of energy. If he was careless, he would become a slave of the devil's bead. He would lose his consciousness and become a puppet. This human was actually fine and even used it to open up a small world. No wonder his cultivation level rose so quickly. This was a madman, a complete madman. He was even crazier than the demon race. He didn't care about the consequences at all. However, when he thought of the ancestral fiend treasure on him, he understood. Perhaps it was the ancestral fiend treasure that helped him suppress the terrifying negative energy. Thinking of this, the Earth Demon Emperor was very jealous. If only he had the treasure of an ancestral devil. In that case, he could refine the bead and obtain the terrifying power within. If he could refine that terrifying power, he might immediately become a true ancestral devil, the fourth ancestral devil of the devil race. However, all of this was impossible. Now, he had to face Yang Hongwu's attack. He had to face that terrifying demonic hand. You're going too far. You're going too far. So what if it's an ancestral devil supreme treasure? The Earth Demon Emperor was also furious. Previously, so much of its energy had been devoured, and now it was still coming. Did it really think that it, the Earth Demon Emperor, was made of mud? Could he fiddle with it as he wished? Could he make it round or flat as he wished? Earth Demon suppressing the heavens. The huge copper hammer suddenly flew up like a huge mountain, unstoppable. It smashed towards Yang Hongwu and the demonic hand. Yang Hongwu snorted coldly. The demonic hand suddenly enlarged, as if it was a huge hand that covered the sky. It was filled with power and was peerlessly overbearing. It was even bigger than the copper hammer, almost covering the heaven and earth. In an instant, the copper hammer was smashed down. Then, a black force turned into a huge net, instantly wrapping around the copper hammer. In the blink of an eye, the outcome of the battle had been decided. The demonic hand's power had increased, while the Earth Demon Emperor was suppressed and his cultivation base was weakened. They were not on the same level at all. In addition, the demonic hand could originally suppress the Earth Demon Emperor. With this, the Earth Demon Emperor had no power to resist at all. Damn it! Damn it! You deserve to die 1,000 times. A sharp horn grew out of the head of the enraged Earth Demon Emperor. His entire body began to tremble. His huge body stood up, causing the earth to shake and the mountains to shake. He seemed to want to erupt with all his strength. The Earth Demon Emperor's strength was very powerful. If he could release all his strength without the suppression of the seal, Yang Hongwu would not be his opponent even if he only had 1/10 of his strength left, even with the suppression of the demonic hand. However, unfortunately, the reality was not as wonderful as the Earth Demon Emperor thought. As soon as he stood up, the huge copper pillar, the restriction runes on the chains, and the ancient seal all emitted a strong light. The copper pillar was red, as if it was the punishment of being burned by a hot rod in an ordinary human kingdom. The red copper pillar stuck to the Earth Demon Emperor's body, producing a sizzling sound. The air was filled with a burnt smell. The chains around him also glowed with golden light and became tighter and tighter, as if they were going to tighten and cut the Earth Demon Emperor's huge body. Seeing this scene, Yang Hongwu was shocked. He did not expect that the copper pillar, the chains, the seal, the restriction runes, and the ancient runes were so powerful. He did not know who had refined these things, but they were definitely Emperor-level weapons. Moreover, they were specially made to deal with the demon race. Ah! Damn it! Damn it! Bastard! Break for me! The Earth Demon Emperor roared, and his aura suddenly rose. A crack actually appeared on the seal. The light of the copper pillar and the chains dimmed all of a sudden. Yang Hongwu was taken aback. Could it be that this Earth Demon Emperor had been concealing his cultivation before? This made Yang Hongwu feel a trace of something wrong, a trace of danger. Boom! With a loud sound, the chains and the copper pillar were sent flying. The seal was broken, and the Earth Demon Emperor's figure changed into a 2-meter-tall Earth Demon. He fell in front of Yang Hongwu and kept twisting his body. Human, you're dead this time. For you, I exposed my original cultivation and activated my life-saving trump card. You should feel honored. The Earth Demon Emperor looked at Yang Hongwu's right hand with some fear. He had already tasted the power of the Devil Hand. Although he was now free, he did not dare to rashly deal with Yang Hongwu's right hand. The Devil Hand made him very afraid. In fact, the Earth Demon Emperor and some other powerful demon race were deliberately sealed in order to wait for the arrival of the next invasion of the demon race. Before that, they had to find the son of destiny of the human race and then kill him or demonize him into a demon race. Chapter 667. Golden Dragon Demon Slaying Whip. At this moment, Yang Hongwu's expression was grave. He did not expect that the Earth Demon Emperor would be able to break the seal. Even the huge copper pillar and chains were unable to trap him. At this moment, Yang Hongwu's dragon soul began to stir. This caused Yang Hongwu to be extremely shocked. Dragon soul. That's right, the dragon soul had been stirring since the beginning. There was a treasure that attracted his dragon soul. Now Yang Hongwu simply released the suppression of the dragon soul. Whoosh! With a sound, the dragon soul appeared and turned into a golden dragon. It let out a deafening dragon roar around Yang Hongwu's body. After the dragon roar, the copper pillar and chains that were sent flying by the Earth Demon Emperor fused together and turned into a golden dragon. It flew towards Yang Hongwu's dragon soul. The dragon soul entered the golden dragon. Immediately, Yang Hongwu felt an indescribable connection between himself and the golden dragon. Yang Hongwu found out that this golden dragon, which was the copper pillar and chains, was a treasure called the Golden Dragon Demon-Slaying Whip. It was rumored that this demon-slaying whip was made from the dragon tendons and spine of a divine dragon. Only those who possessed the divine dragon's bloodline and dragon soul could make it recognize them as its master. Coincidentally, Yang Hongwu met this condition. The Golden Dragon Demon-Slaying Whip recognized its master. The demonic hand became restless, as if it was angry, and provoked the Golden Dragon Demon-Slaying Whip. As for the Golden Dragon Demon-Slaying Whip, it was not easy to provoke it either. The two of them were about to explode. Yang Hongwu smiled bitterly. He immediately communicated with the Golden Dragon Demon-Slaying Whip and the demonic hand. He could not let these two guys fight. If they fought each other before even killing the enemy, wouldn't he, as the master, be done for? Yang Hongwu didn't want to die. What made Yang Hongwu rejoice was that the Devil Hand and the Golden Dragon Demon Killing Whip still listened to Yang Hongwu. If he told them not to fight, they wouldn't fight. Yang Hongwu heaved a sigh of relief. Go, destroy that guy. With a thought, Yang Hongwu directed the Golden Dragon Devil Exterminating Whip and Devil Hand to attack the Earth Demon Sovereign. Needless to say, the Demon Hand was the nemesis of the Earth Demon Emperor, and the Golden Dragon Demon Killing Whip was the same. Both of them had their own consciousness and were the nemesis of the demon race. Compared to the Demon Hand, the Golden Dragon Demon-Slaying Whip had the support of Yang Hongwu's dragon soul, so it was slightly more powerful. It transformed into a golden dragon. With a roar, it charged forward, baring its fangs and brandishing its claws, intending to tear the Earth Demon Emperor to shreds. Demon Hand was not to be outdone. If you can become a dragon, why can't I? The Demon Hand also transformed into a dragon, but it was a black dragon. It was mighty, domineering, murderous, and filled with a destructive aura. Of course, Yang Hongwu also knew how powerful the Earth Demon Emperor was, just by looking at its momentum. In this place, the Earth Demon Emperor's strength might not be fully displayed due to the suppression of the world's laws. However, in his current situation, even with the help of the Demon Hand and the Golden Dragon Demon-Slaying Whip, he might not be able to deal with the Earth Demon Emperor. Therefore, Yang Hongwu did not hesitate and erupted with all his strength. Battle Spirit Possession. Xiaorui's battle spirit possessed Yang Hongwu's body, and his momentum skyrocketed. From the first level of the God Realm, he reached the fourth level of the Venerable Realm. The increase in strength and momentum was not just a little bit. After the battle spirit possession, Yang Hongwu also activated his battle physique. The Nine Dragons Saint physique completely erupted. In this place, Yang Hongwu was not worried that his saint physique would be discovered. Now that he had to kill the Earth Demon Emperor, if he did not erupt with all his strength, he might lose his life here. Mysterious Dragon's 9 Transformations, 6th Transformation. Titan Technique, Open. At this moment, Yang Hongwu's body was surrounded by divine dragons and auspicious clouds. He was like an invincible god of war, possessing an invincible momentum that no one could match. Demon-Slaying Finger. With a loud shout, Yang Hongwu's magic power condensed on his fingertip and turned into a giant hand. That giant hand came from the depths of the void. The giant hand stretched out a finger that was filled with destructive power. The destructive power of this finger was for the demon race. This golden power was vast and boundless, filled with the righteousness of the world. The demon-slaying finger, the Golden Dragon demon-slaying whip, and the Demon Hand. 3 terrifying forces attacked the Earth Demon Emperor. Earth Demon shakes the heavens. The Earth Demon Emperor's figure skyrocketed. With a grab of his hand, a giant bronze hammer appeared in his hand. It seemed to have turned into an ancient giant beast. Its face was ferocious, and it roared crazily, wanting to tear, kill, and devour any creature that dared to offend its majesty. Demonic flames surged like a torrential flood in a great river. It was unstoppable, and the world was about to be shaken. One after another, terrifying giant beasts rushed towards the Golden Dragon, the demon-slaying dragon, and the giant finger. All of a sudden, these forces collided with each other. In the next moment, the earth quaked and the mountain shook. The entire Earth Demon Mountain shook. As if a huge earthquake had occurred, the entire Earth Demon Mountain erupted. The tremendous force destroyed the upper part of the Earth Demon Mountain. Half of the tall Earth Demon Mountain was blown up in an instant. In the face of this terrifying force, Yang Hongwu had no choice but to activate the Immortal Pagoda to protect himself. Although Yang Hongwu's current strength was equivalent to a 4th-level Venerable Realm expert, how terrifying would it be when these forces collided in such a narrow space? The space was torn apart in an instant, forming a terrifying spatial crack. A part of the upper part of the Earth Demon Mountain was swallowed into the spatial crack. That pitch-black spatial crack was like an ancient giant beast. It was extremely powerful, as if it wanted to devour everything. Yang Hongwu did not want to bear this terrifying power. Moreover, it was too dangerous to enter the spatial crack. Last time, he had almost died. This time, of course, he would not take the risk. The power of the Immortal Pagoda was extremely strong. It firmly protected Yang Hongwu within. As for the Earth Demon Emperor, he was not so lucky. Although the Earth Demon Emperor was powerful, he could not unleash all of his power in this place. In addition, he also had Yang Hongwu's terrifying attack, the demon-slaying finger, which caused him great damage. In addition to the demon-killing whip and the demon-killing hand, these were all his nemeses. The demon-slaying whip mercilessly bombarded his body. The demonic dragon formed by the demonic hand was constantly devouring the Earth Demon Chi that erupted from the Earth Demon Emperor. Naturally, the Earth Demon Emperor was no match for him. After the huge impact, the Earth Demon Emperor spat out blood from the corner of his mouth, and his aura became chaotic. With great difficulty, he managed to stabilize himself and prevent himself from being sucked into the terrifying spatial crack. At this time, the Earth Demon Emperor had already made preparations to escape. This human must be the son of destiny. He alone was not a match for him. He had to wake up the others so that they could deal with him together. Chapter 668. The mysterious battle spirit Yang Hongwu couldn't evade it. As though it had eyes, the light chased after Yang Hongwu and entered Yang Hongwu's body. However, when the black light entered Yang Hongwu's body, the Earth Demon Emperor was also hit by 3 powerful forces. Crunching sounds could be heard from the huge body. In the end, the Earth Demon Emperor's body exploded with a rumble. The black dragon formed by the demon hand frantically devoured the Earth Demon Emperor's exploded flesh and blood. In just a few bites, it had devoured half of it. The Earth Demon Emperor's body was so huge that it was like a small mountain. Compared to it, the demonic dragon formed by the demon hand paled in comparison. It was dozens of times bigger than the demonic dragon formed by the demon hand. However, after devouring the Earth Demon Emperor's flesh and blood, the demonic dragon's speed was astonishing, but its body didn't grow. It was like a bottomless pit that couldn't be filled. However, after devouring the Earth Demon Emperor's power, Yang Hongwu felt that the demon hand had become stronger and stronger. However, Yang Hongwu wasn't in the mood to care about the demon hand's situation at this time. He was in big trouble now. It was the black light that was shot out before the Earth Demon Emperor's body was shattered. This black light was condensed from the Earth Demon Emperor's power. It was the power of the Earth Demon Emperor's soul origin. The strength of the Earth Demon Emperor was incomparably powerful. At its peak, its strength was comparable to that of a great emperor. How powerful was it? How terrifying was a great emperor? A great emperor could destroy a world with a raise of his hand. Although the Earth Demon Emperor's strength wasn't comparable to a great emperor, it wasn't too far off. How could his soul origin be weak? Of course, it was impossible to seize Yang Hongwu's body. The Earth Demon Emperor didn't have the ability to seize it. In Yang Hongwu's body, in the space of his sea of consciousness, and in his divine dwellings, it could be said to be extremely vast, far surpassing that of ordinary people. In addition, there were countless powerful beings stationed there, such as the Sure Bower, the Ninth Heaven Mysterious Een Tower, and so on. These were all tyrannical beings. Furthermore, they were in Yang Hongwu's spiritual sea. Yang Hongwu had the initiative advantage. Yang Hongwu had also cultivated the 9 transformations Yin Yang art and the 1000 Buddha demon exterminating art. Yang Hongwu had practiced the demon exterminating finger, the Jingshan finger, and the rushing thunder hand. These were all cultivation methods that could restrain the demon race. Therefore, the Earth Demon Emperor had no way to enter Yang Hongwu's sea of consciousness. Once he entered, he would face the danger of being destroyed. Therefore, the Earth Demon Emperor wasn't stupid. He didn't enter Yang Hongwu's sea of consciousness. Instead, he wanted to devour Yang Hongwu's dragon soul. The dragon soul was very powerful. After fusing with the golden dragon exterminating devil whip, its strength became very terrifying. However, the Earth Demon Emperor had been sealed by the golden dragon exterminating devil whip for so many years. He was very familiar with the golden dragon exterminating devil whip's aura. Although the golden dragon exterminating devil whip had suppressed the Earth Demon Emperor for so many years, it had consumed a lot of energy. Even if it had recovered because of the dragon soul, it still hadn't reached its peak state. The Earth Demon Emperor wanted to enter the golden dragon exterminating devil whip and become its tool spirit. Then, he would slowly recover. At that time, at the critical moment of Yang Hongwu's growth, he would launch a counterattack, seize Yang Hongwu's body, or destroy this human's son of fortune. His idea was very beautiful, but the fact was, it didn't go so smoothly. The dragon soul was closely related to Yang Hongwu. It was a part of Yang Hongwu's primordial spirit. If it wanted to devour Yang Hongwu's primordial spirit, how could he not sense it? The dragon soul launched the dragon souls devouring the heavens, wanting to devour the Earth Demon Emperor's soul source. However, Yang Hongwu was somewhat surprised. The dragon souls devouring the heavens had always been very powerful and overbearing. No matter what kind of soul or primordial spirit it was, it couldn't escape the devouring power of the dragon souls devouring the heavens. However, the Earth Demon Emperor actually blocked it. There was a small black ring in the Earth Demon Emperor's soul. This small black ring was filled with terrifying power. It was a boundless destructive power. After Yang Hongwu obtained the devil bead and refined its power, he opened his own miniature world. Therefore, he was very clear about the power of this small black ring. This small ring was condensed from the devil bead's power that the Earth Demon Emperor had absorbed for so many years. It was no small matter. The runes on it were imitating the seal on the devil bead. It was this strange rune restriction and seal that prevented Yang Hongwu's dragon soul from devouring it. It was also because of this that Yang Hongwu had a headache. The Earth Demon Emperor's soul source had entered the Golden Dragon Demon Extinguishing Whip and wanted to compete with him for control. It also wanted to occupy his body. How could Yang Hongwu agree to that? However, this also created a huge problem for Yang Hongwu. Although he wasn't worried about the Earth Demon Emperor devouring the Golden Dragon Demon Extinguishing Whip and seizing control, this guy wouldn't be able to control the Golden Dragon Demon Extinguishing Whip while inside the Golden Dragon Demon Extinguishing Whip. He also had to divide his energy to guard against this bastard at all times. Damned human. As expected of a son of fortune. Your sea of consciousness is actually so terrifying. This dragon soul is actually your primordial spirit too. The Earth Demon Emperor was very angry. He originally thought that he could easily seize the Golden Dragon Demon Extinguishing Whip and then deal with Yang Hongwu. However, he didn't expect that Yang Hongwu actually had more than one primordial spirit. This dragon soul was also one of his primordial spirit. Now, it was impossible for him to devour the dragon soul and seize the Golden Dragon Demon Extinguishing Whip in a short period of time. He could only take it slowly. This made the Earth Demon Emperor unwilling. He was the emperor of the Earth Demon clan. Although he wasn't an ancestor demon or a demon emperor, his strength was only a step away from that. Master, there's a method that we might be able to try. At this moment, Ing Sherue said. What method? Yang Hongwu recalled what Bauer said to him before he fell into a deep slumber. He wanted him to listen to Ing Sherue's opinion. Ing Sherue's strength had recovered a lot. She was now a 4th-level venerable. Although she was still some distance away from the peak of her strength, she should have recovered a lot of her memory. Also, according to Bauer's words, this battle spirit Shadow Sherue seemed to have a much greater background than he had imagined. You can enter the demon world, which is Master's pocket world. Ing Sherue said. My pocket world? Demon world? Yang Hongwu was confused. How did his pocket world become the demon world? Shouldn't the demon world be the world of the terrifying demon clan? His pocket world had just been opened. Although it couldn't allow ordinary warriors to enter, it shouldn't have become the demon world. Chapter 669. Subdue. Take control of the evil fiend race and become their master. Yang Hongwu couldn't help but shake his head. He didn't have such big ambitions. Besides, if he became the master of the evil fiend race, wouldn't it be equivalent to standing on the opposite side of the entire 9 heavens and 10 earths? If he really became the master of the evil fiend race, he would face the pursuit of the entire 9 heavens and 10 earths. Of course, this was the only way to deal with the Earth Demon Emperor's soul source. With a thought, Yang Hongwu pulled the Golden Dragon Demon-Slaying Whip into the Little Fiend world. For the time being, this small world would be called the Little Fiend world. If it developed, it would really become a fiend world. At that time, if he could capture all the evil fiend race into the Little Fiend world, the power of the Little Fiend world would grow, and his strength would also become stronger. What the hell is this place? The Earth Demon Emperor entered the Little Fiend world and suddenly turned pale with fright. Could this be the Little Fiend's Little Fiend world? Thinking of this, he was incomparably shocked. That guy just said that he had helped him to open up a Little Fiend world. This was probably the Little Fiend world that had just been opened up. This was too perverted. The Little Fiend world that had just been opened up was actually so vast. He had to admit that this little fiend was a genius, a super genius, as expected of the son of fortune. If he could devour this guy and take over his body, he might reach the ancestor fiend realm. No, he might even have a chance to surpass the ancestor fiend realm. It was just that this was too difficult. He could feel his power being disintegrated. His soul source was actually being devoured bit by bit. This made the Earth Demon Emperor horrified. Although it was just a little bit and almost undetectable, his soul source was indeed being devoured. If this continued, his strength would increase, and the speed of his soul source being devoured would become faster and faster. Regret, it was too late for regrets. Once the soul origin was devoured, it would be a true death. He didn't want to die, didn't want to be devoured. Yang Hongwu also discovered this point. To think that he could easily devour the Earth Demon Emperor's soul source, this made him very surprised. Although the speed was very slow, it was because he had not used his full strength yet. In this little devil world, this was his own world. He was the master of this place and controlled everything. Any creature in this space had to be under his control. Of course, that was unless his strength was so great that it surpassed the suppression of the laws of this small world. However, how could the suppression of the laws of this world be so easily overcome? The origin energy here was refined from the devil bead. It was the origin energy of the powerful leader of the devil clan. His strength even surpassed that of a great emperor. Therefore, the source laws here were very powerful and not so easy to break. What's more, the Earth Demon Emperor only had his soul origin left. A mere strand of his soul origin couldn't possibly shake these laws. Even an emperor-level soul essence might not be able to shake it, let alone a great sage-level soul essence. Moreover, the Earth Demon Emperor's soul origin was not at its peak. Therefore, at this time, the Earth Demon Emperor could be said to have no leeway to resist at all. He was like a lamb waiting to be slaughtered, a piece of meat placed on the chopping board. Welcome to my small world. This place is called the Little Devil World by me. It was opened by the power of the bead you gave me. Yang Hongwu's figure flashed and appeared in front of the Earth Demon Emperor. The Earth Demon Emperor was immediately separated from the Golden Dragon exterminating Devil Whip by Yang Hongwu. You, haha, how is it, Mr. Earth Demon Emperor? Are you surprised that your strength is disappearing? Yang Hongwu looked at the Earth Demon Emperor. He was so arrogant just now and even wanted to seize his body. Now, he had become a stray dog. You. The Earth Demon Emperor's face was very gloomy. Aren't you afraid that I will self-destruct? Why don't you try it? Yang Hongwu chuckled. In this place, Yang Hongwu was not worried about the Earth Demon Emperor's self-destruction. Self-destruction couldn't destroy this small world. Could even help him expand the Little Devil World. Don't go too far. The Earth Demon Emperor said angrily. Submit to me. Yang Hongwu said coldly, otherwise only death awaits you. Yang Hongwu originally planned to devour this guy, but on second thought, his Little Devil World seemed too monotonous. Moreover, he couldn't let others in. Even Nini, Lu Li, and the others weren't suitable to enter, not to mention Yuji and Hu Xiu. In the future, this small world would definitely become a place to imprison the devil race and devil race. It was equivalent to becoming his slave world. But he still needed someone to manage it. This Earth Demon Emperor was a good choice. This guy was the emperor of the Earth Demon race, and had once ruled over the Earth Demon race. If he could subdue him, there would be many benefits. Not only would he have a powerful slave subordinate, but he could also obtain some useful information about the Earth Demon race. There was one more important point. Yang Hongwu could absorb the energy above the Devil Pearl and condense it into a Devil Ring. Yang Hongwu was very interested in this point. This Devil Ring was very powerful. Even his own dragon soul couldn't devour it. If he could combine it with his Yin-Yang Soul Lock curse, it would bring about unexpected benefits. You're dreaming. The Earth Demon Emperor's eyes flickered. He didn't want to die, but if he had to submit to Yang Hongwu, he couldn't do it. He was the emperor of the Earth Demon race. It was impossible for him to submit to a level 1 divine realm cultivator. His dignity wouldn't allow him to do so. Then you've chosen to die. Yang Hongwu's face sank. He had given the Earth Demon Emperor face, but the Earth Demon Emperor didn't want it. He didn't have that much time, nor did he have the patience to waste time with the Earth Demon Emperor. Since the Earth Demon Emperor wasn't willing to submit, he might as well kill him. Saying so, Yang Hongwu gathered energy in his right hand. The finger force of the demon exterminating finger condensed again. Wait! Looking at the terrifying energy condensed by Yang Hongwu's finger, the Earth Demon Emperor panicked. This guy wasn't joking. If they were outside, his demon exterminating finger wouldn't be able to kill him. But here, this was Yang Hongwu's world. He could really kill him. Have you thought it through? I'm willing to submit to you, but you have to open up the energy here so that I can cultivate. The Earth Demon Emperor said. Of course. Yang Hongwu nodded. After you submit to me, you're one of us. I've never been stingy with my own people. All right, I'm willing to submit to you. The Earth Demon Emperor nodded. Release your soul, Yang Hongwu said. Although the Earth Demon Emperor was unwilling, he knew that if he refused at this time, only death would await him. In order to survive, he could only drag out an ignoble existence and become Yang Hongwu's slave. His life and death were controlled by him. Chapter 670. Smashing the stone door. After branding the Earth Demon Emperor and completely subduing it, Yang Hongwu heaved a sigh of relief. This guy was really hard to deal with. If it really self-destructed, it would cause quite a lot of damage to him. With the Earth Demon Emperor and the Golden Dragon Demon-slaying whip being taken away, the seal in the cave lost its target and immediately began to disintegrate. It didn't take long for all the seals to disappear. With the seal gone, it was no longer a problem to break the stone door. At this time, Old Ape also woke up. Master, go quickly. I'll hold the rear. Old Ape hurriedly shouted as soon as he woke up. Yang Hongwu said, All right, it's fine now. The Earth Demon Emperor is dead. Now, you go and open the stone door. Master, are you telling the truth? Old Ape rubbed his eyes. He still couldn't believe it. The Earth Demon Emperor was so powerful and invincible. Although his master's strength was not bad, there was a huge gap between them. How could he kill the Earth Demon Emperor? If it wasn't for the special connection, he would have suspected that the person in front of him was fake and was transformed by the Earth Demon Emperor. Just go and break the stone door, Yang Hongwu said. He didn't explain further. As a slave, there were many things that he didn't need to know. Now, the one to deal with was the Demon King. Since the Earth Demon Emperor was subdued by him and became his slave, Yang Hongwu didn't put the Demon King in his eyes at all. Yes. The old Ape King mustered up all his strength and smashed the rod down. It heavily smashed on the stone door, causing a loud noise. Boom! The tall stone door collapsed, raising a cloud of dust. The old Ape King was in disbelief. He had really smashed the stone door open. He had smashed the stone door many times in the beginning, and the terrifying rebounding force had injured him quite badly. This time, he had actually smashed the stone door open? Outside the stone door, the Demon King's face changed greatly. He was waiting to devour Yang Hongwu's bloodline, but the stone door was smashed to pieces. No matter who it was not a good thing for him. If it was that human and the old ape who smashed open the stone door, he would definitely die. However, if it was that terrifying Earth Demon Emperor, he would still have a chance of survival, but he would also become someone's subordinate and be ordered around by that person. As a high and mighty human king, how could he be willing to hand over his authority and listen to the orders of others? He was not willing to see either of these two situations happen. But there was nothing he could do. What he hoped to see didn't happen, but what he didn't want to see happened. He only hoped that the person who came out would be seriously injured and that he would have an advantage. As the dust settled, the Earth Demon Human King's pupils shrank as he saw the person who had walked out. The Earth Demon Human King's pupils shrank, as if they were needles. It was the old ape and the human. This was what he didn't want to see the most. Moreover, this human strength had increased. He had reached the first level of the divine realm from the Tao pedestal realm. What kind of great fortuitous encounter did he have inside? Or did this human reach some kind of agreement with the Earth Demon Emperor? Demon King, you bastard, give me your life. Seeing the Demon King, the old ape was aggressive. He suddenly raised his big stick and smashed it toward the Demon King. The Demon King narrowed his eyes. Looking at the old ape who was attacking him, he didn't put him in his eyes at all. Although the old ape's strength was not bad, it was not on the same level as him. With a wave of his right hand, a huge mace appeared in his hand. Then, he smashed it toward the old ape, as if he had turned into a terrifying demon. He was ferocious and arrogant. He let out angry roars, wanting to tear the old ape apart. Bang! The two huge forces collided. The Demon King was motionless, while the old ape was sent flying dozens of meters away. He hit the wall and fell down. The old ape spat out a mouthful of blood and struggled to get up. He looked at the Demon King, his eyes full of unwillingness. "All right, you're not his match." Yang Hongwu waved his hand and said to the very unwilling old ape. Although the old ape's strength was not bad, the gap between him and the Demon King was still too big. He couldn't possibly be the Demon King's match. Unless his strength took another step forward and broke through to another level, he would be able to fight the Demon King to a draw. In terms of combat talent, the old ape was without a doubt. However, his realm was much lower than the Demon King's. Absolute strength had an absolute advantage. Even if the old ape had rich combat experience, he was still not a match for the Demon King. This was the reason why one could break 10,000 techniques. As long as one had enough strength, no matter how many techniques one had, it would all be in vain. Of course, it was not easy to reach this realm, unless one's strength was too much stronger than the opponent, to the point where one could absolutely crush them. Can't even withstand a single blow. The Demon King coldly said, "Human, you have already obtained the item. If you leave my Earth Demon Mountain immediately, I can forget about it." "Are you joking?" Yang Hongwu gave the old ape a medicinal pill. The old ape's chaotic aura was immediately adjusted. His injuries were constantly healing, and his strength gradually increased. There were even signs of a breakthrough. Medicinal pill, a supreme-grade healing medicinal pill. Seeing the medicinal pill Yang Hongwu took out, the Demon King's eyes flashed with greed. He never thought that this human would have such a medicinal pill. There were many spiritual herbs in the Earth Demon Mountain. However, even the most precious spiritual herbs did not have such quick effect. If he could obtain these medicinal pills, and if he had enough of them, he would be able to dominate this wild mountain. Perhaps this human was also a powerful alchemist. If he could capture him and make him serve him as his alchemy slave, that would be great. The Demon King's ambition was huge. However, at this moment, it was just a thought. Although he looked calm on the surface, as if he was not afraid of Yang Hongwu, in fact, he was already prepared to escape. Although the Earth Demon Mountain was important, his own life was more important. "You want to kill me, and you want me to leave just like that? Do you think I'm such a nice person? Moreover, you have injured my subordinate." Yang Hongwu coldly said, "Demon King, you must know that there was a terrifying existence in the cave. However, that terrifying existence has already been eliminated by me. Moreover, I have obtained great benefit. My cultivation has already broken through to the first level of the divine realm. When I was in the Tao pedestal realm, I could already kill you. Now you don't even have the chance to escape." Chapter 671. Frantically fleeing, the Demon King's reaction was within Yang Hongwu's expectations. The strength of the Earth Demon Emperor was indeed very frightening. If it wasn't for his special situation, he wouldn't have been able to deal with him. If it was someone else, they would be completely helpless. Or rather, they would only be the Earth Demon Emperor's snack. However, the Earth Demon Emperor just had to meet him. It didn't matter whether the Demon King believed him or not. Yang Hongwu didn't need him to believe him. The corner of his mouth curled up into a smile. Since this guy was so stubborn, then he would take care of him. With a wave of his right hand, a golden whip spun in his hand. Then, it turned into a golden dragon and circled around Yang Hongwu. Seeing the golden dragon that the whip had turned into, the Demon King's expression changed greatly. The aura that the golden whip gave him was very familiar. It seemed to be the same as the Earth Demon Emperor's chains that sealed the cave. Perhaps it was even more powerful. This whip made him feel the aura of death. It was very uncomfortable. Could it be that this person had really killed that frightening Earth Demon? Otherwise, how could he even capture this whip, No, that supreme treasure that could seal the Earth Demon Emperor. After hesitating for only a moment, he prepared to flee. His figure turned into a black wind and flew towards the distance. His speed was extremely fast. It was like a black lightning bolt. His action made Yang Hongwu and I slightly stunned. However, Yang Hongwu had been paying attention. Since the Golden Dragon Devil Slaying Whip had been taken out, it had already locked onto the Demon King. It simply didn't allow him to escape. The Golden Dragon Devil Slaying Whip had turned into let out a mighty dragon roar. It domineeringly chased after the Demon King, who had turned into a black lightning bolt. One was black, one was golden. One was in front, one was behind. They were chasing after each other. The Demon King's speed was extremely fast. However, the Golden Dragon Devil Slaying Whip's speed wasn't slow at all. It was closely following behind him. Damn it! Seeing the Golden Dragon Devil Slaying Whip chasing after him, the Demon King's expression changed and he cursed. If he had known earlier, he would have taken advantage of the time when that human was sealed in the cave to escape. Now, he was somewhat regretting it. However, it was too late to regret now. Block him for me. The Demon King crazily grabbed the other Earth Devil Human clansmen and threw them behind him. It was as if he had gone mad as he fled for his life. The Earth Devil Human clan was stunned to see their old ancestor being chased so crazily. However, they quickly regained their senses. In the Earth Devil Human clan, the Demon King was the most important and strongest existence in the clan. No one dared to disobey his words. Even if he wanted them to die, they would agree. They were absolutely loyal to the Demon King. In their hearts, the Earth Devil King was supreme, the strongest and invincible. No one could defeat him. But now, he was being chased by a golden dragon. This meant that the golden dragon must have used some despicable and shameless method to stop him. The dragons had once attacked the Earth Demon Mountain, but they were all repelled without exception. Therefore, in the eyes of the Earth Demons, the dragons were nothing. Kill him! Kill that damned golden dragon! The Earth Devil Human clan roared loudly. One by one, they grabbed their sabers and maces and rushed towards the Golden Dragon Demon Slaying Whip. They were not afraid of death. Bang, bang, bang! The Golden Dragon Demon Slaying Whip turned into a golden dragon and rushed forward. The Earth Devil Human clansmen that came in contact with it died instantly. There was no resistance at all. It was like a small ant trying to block the path of an elephant. There was no effect at all. However, even so, the Earth Devil Human clansmen did not care about their lives and still rushed towards the Golden Dragon Demon Slaying Whip. If it was just for the sake of the Demon King, to give the Demon King, the king of the Earth Devil clan, the greatest and most respected old ancestor of the Earth Devil clan, a breather. Yang Hongwu frowned. The Golden Dragon Demon Slaying Whip's speed was slightly faster than the Demon King's, but it was slowed down by the Earth Devil Human clansmen. In a battle between experts, even if it was delayed by a little, it would make a huge difference. It seemed that he had to do it himself. Although the Golden Dragon Demon Slaying Whip was powerful, it was only a weapon after all. Although it had its own consciousness and was not weak, its intelligence was still too weak. In other words, it was not smart enough and had not grown to that level. It still needed some time to improve. Looking at the complacent Demon King, a cold light flashed in Yang Hongwu's eyes. "In Yang Soul Lock Curse," he shouted softly. The power of the primordial spirit burst out and formed an invisible attack. It passed through space and bombarded the Demon King's primordial spirit. The Demon King immediately slowed down. That black light clearly paused for a moment. It was just a moment, not even a breath's time. However, in this short moment, the Golden Dragon Demon Slaying Whip had already rushed forward. The golden dragon that it transformed into opened its mouth and roared. It extended its sharp claws and fiercely clawed at the Earth Devil Human King's body. The Demon King had no way to dodge and was caught in an instant. Bang! that huge power suddenly slapped the Demon King down from the sky. It heavily smashed into the ground, creating a deep pit. Roar! With another roar, the Golden Dragon Demon Slaying Whip rushed forward again. There was only one thought in its mind, and that was the order that Yang Hongwu gave it. Kill the Demon King. Kill him. Kill him. The Golden Dragon Demon Slaying Whip seemed to turn into a golden lightning and fell on the Demon King's body. Pah! This time, the Golden Dragon Demon Slaying Whip changed back to its original form. It was a golden whip, and around the whip were shadows of golden dragons. The entire whip was like a huge dragon's body, with terrifying spikes on it. When it hit the Demon King's body, blood splashed out. It also made a sizzling sound, as if it was corroded by some terrifying venom. The Demon King let out a mournful scream. The Golden Dragon Demon Slaying Whip's speed became faster and faster. Around the Demon King's body, only countless shadows of the whip could be seen. Not long after, the Demon King's aura weakened, and his screams were long gone. Is it that weak? Yang Hongwu was somewhat in disbelief. Although the Golden Dragon Demon Slaying Whip was domineering, it shouldn't be able to kill such a powerful guy like the Demon King so quickly. After all, the Golden Dragon Demon Slaying Whip didn't have the support of his magic power. If it had the support of his magic power, it would have been possible to kill the Demon King in such a short time. Chapter 672. Tortoise Shell Armor. Yang Hongwu was a very cautious person. Under such circumstances, he did not dare to be careless. With a wave of his hand, Yang Hongwu kept the Golden Dragon Demon Slaying Whip into the Little Devil World. Then, Yang Hongwu circulated his magic power and condensed it in his hand. Demon Slaying Finger. This Demon Slaying Finger was extremely lethal to the Demon King. It was even more terrifying than the Golden Dragon Demon Slaying Whip. When the terrifying Golden Finger condensed from magic power was about to hit the Demon King's body, he moved. His body was as agile as a monkey. With a flip of his body, he tried to dodge Yang Hongwu's Demon Slaying Finger. However, how mysterious was the Demon Slaying Finger! Moreover, it was executed by Yang Hongwu with all his strength. If it could be dodged so easily, then it would not be evolved from the Jingshan Finger. The demonic exterminating finger wasn't any weaker than the Jingshan Finger. The Jingshan Finger was an emperor art, a powerful emperor art. It was just that Yang Hongwu had yet to fully grasp it. Similarly, the demonic exterminating finger that evolved from the Jingshan Finger was also an emperor art. However, Yang Hongwu's comprehension of the demonic exterminating finger was much deeper than the Jingshan Finger. This finger was filled with supreme mysteries. It was integrated with a powerful force. It could slay evil and exterminate demons. Damn it! Shatter the mountains and rivers! The Demon King roared. A violent force was released. His entire body was like a demon god that could destroy the world. That terrifying force was about to shatter the entire space. Huge cracks appeared on the ground. They spread out like a spider web. This was the result of the Demon King's terrifying power. However, even though the power was strong, it was still unable to resist the terrifying Demon Slaying Finger. In front of the Demon Slaying Finger, the Demon King's power was greatly weakened. He could not display his tyrannical strength at all. Boom! The Demon Slaying Finger collided with the Demon King's attack. The mana condensed by the Demon King formed a huge fist. However, this huge fist melted under the Demon Vanquishing Finger. It was as if ice and snow had encountered a scorching flame. It kept melting at an extremely fast speed. The fist energy was dissolved, and the power of the Demon Killing Finger landed on the Demon King's body. A huge tortoise shell appeared on the Demon King's body. This was a treasured armor that protected the Demon King, reducing his injuries to a minimum. Is this the Demon King's trump card? Yang Hongwu's eyes flashed with surprise when he saw the turtle shell-like armor. Even if the black tortoise was a powerful black tortoise and had an astonishing defense, it would not be able to withstand the attack of the demonic finger. It seemed that this tortoiseshell armor was not that simple. Even if it wasn't an emperor weapon, it was still a top-grade defensive saint weapon. The defensive power of this tortoiseshell armor was probably much stronger than his true dragon armor. This was a treasured armor. Although he had no use for it, he could give it to others. He could give it to his women. They were not strong and they needed it. You won't be able to kill me. The Demon King smiled when he saw that he was protected by the treasured armor. He was provoking Yang Hongwu. Do you really think that I can't kill you? Yang Hongwu was furious when he saw that this guy was still so cocky. He did not want to explode, but he still dared to provoke him. He was really courting death. Battle Spirit Possession. Yang Hongwu, whose strength had skyrocketed to level 1 Divine Realm, could now use the Battle Spirit Possession for a longer time than before. The strength of the Battle Spirit Possession had reached level 4 Venerable Realm. He could even kill level 5 and level 6 Venerable Realm experts when he unleashed his full strength. The difference between the Demon King and the Earth Demon Emperor was too big. He was suppressed again. Even with the protection of the tortoiseshell armor, he could not avoid death. Yang Hongwu's strength had undergone a huge change. The Demon King's expression changed. He was frightened. He knew that his treasured armor was very strong. At first, he was not confident that he could resist Yang Hongwu. However, the previous terrifying finger attack was blocked by the treasured armor, so his injury was not serious. At most, it was a light injury. Such an injury could be healed in a dozen breaths. It could be said that the attack just now did not harm him at all. However, this time, the Earth Devil Human King was unable to remain calm in the face of this attack. This time, he had a premonition, a very strong premonition. His treasured armor could not block it. It could not block it. If it could not block it, that terrifying power would definitely take his life. No, it won't. My treasured armor will definitely be able to block this damnable human's attack. The Earth Devil Human King secretly cheered himself on. In his heart there was still a trace of joy, a trace of hope. However, reality was cruel. After Yang Hongwu executed the Battle Spirit Possession, his battle strength increased tremendously. He executed the demon-killing finger again. This time, the power was boundless. Compared to before, it was far more powerful. It could be said that the difference between heaven and earth was like night and day. The huge golden finger looked like the finger of a demon-killing battle god from the primordial age. With a single finger, any demon god would be killed. Boom! The terrifying finger clashed with the tortoise-shaped treasured armor. A huge shockwave spread out, and the entire Earth Demon Mountain was affected. One ancient tree after another was snapped by this tyrannical power. The poisonous miasma that surrounded the entire Earth Demon Mountain was completely dispersed by this terrifying power. As for the tortoiseshell armor, it was unable to withstand such a powerful force. Cracks began to appear on it. There was also a series of kacha sounds. After a few breaths, that huge tortoiseshell exploded with a loud bang. After the tortoiseshell exploded, the force hit the Demon King's body. Although the Demon King was not a true demon race, the blood of the Earth Demon race flowed in his body. Compared to the Earth Demon Sovereign, he was still the strongest existence in the Earth Demon human race. Even among the Earth Demon race, his bloodline was still of a very high grade and very honorable. Compared to the demon-killing finger, it was specifically used against the demon race. The higher the grade of the opponent's bloodline, the stronger the killing power. The power of the demon-killing finger on the Demon King's body was a terrifying poison. It was a lethal poison that could not be touched at all. Ah! The Demon King let out a shrill scream. The force corroded his body and kept devouring it. The golden light spread very quickly. In a few breaths, it had already spread to the Demon King's entire body. In the end, the Demon King's body exploded just like the tortoiseshell armor. His body completely dissipated into the air. Chapter 673. collecting the spiritual vein, Earth Devil Emperor Yu. After being thrown into the little devil world, seeing the Earth Devil Emperor appear, the Earth Devil Human King was stupefied. This was real, the Earth Devil Emperor was really defeated by him, and was even imprisoned here. This was the most inconceivable thing in his eyes, the most impossible thing had happened. Master, do you want me to train this little guy? The Earth Demon Emperor looked at the person who came in and recognized him. This guy had the blood of the Earth Demon clan flowing in his body. However, he wasn't a real Earth Demon clan, but an Earth Demon human clan. He was a half-human demon clan born from the combination of a human and an Earth Demon clan. Yes, I'll leave this guy to you. Yang Hongwu nodded and said. This guy had lived in the savage 100,000 mountain range for so long, so he knew a lot of things about the savage 100,000 mountain range. He lived much longer than the old ape, so he naturally knew a lot more things. This would be of great help to Yang Hongwu when he wanted to go deeper into the Death Mountain. The Earth Demon Mountain was the closest to the Death Mountain. It was the only place where one could freely enter the Death Mountain. No one knew more about the Death Mountain than the Demon King. Yes, Master. The Earth Demon Emperor chuckled. He picked up the Demon King and went to one side. For the Earth Demon Emperor, there was no fun in the little devil world. Now that a Demon King had come down, he could have some fun and pass the time. Yang Hongwu came out of the little devil world and went to the Earth Demon Mountain, looking at the released spiritual vein. Now that the Earth Demon Mountain had lost the miasma, the entire mountain peak was like a paradise on Earth. It was definitely a rare paradise. If he established a sect here, although it wouldn't be as good as the Four Great Immortal Mansion, it should be much stronger than those clans and sections. Brother, if you move this spiritual vein into the Zhenlong world, then Sister Bao will wake up. At this time, Nini's voice appeared in Yang Hongwu's mind. Can it be moved into the Zhenlong world? Yang Hongwu asked. Yes. What should we do? Yang Hongwu asked hurriedly. With the help of Shi Bao, everything would be much smoother, and Yang Hongwu would be more confident. This was absolutely true. Shi Bao's true form was the gem of life. She was very strong, perhaps even stronger than the average great emperor. It was just that her cultivation had not recovered yet. Moreover, she was like an encyclopedia. You could ask her anything you didn't know and get a satisfactory answer. Of course, Yang Hongwu knew that he couldn't rely on others too much. However, waking up Shi Bao was still a priority. Putting aside the fact that the Mountain of Death was full of dangers, Shi Bao had helped him a lot. It was his duty to help her recover and wake her up. Big brother, you just need to find the source of the spirit vein. Then, I will collect the spirit vein, Nini said. Yang Hongwu nodded. Nini was the longevity ancient tree. It shouldn't be difficult for her to collect the spirit vein. Yang Hongwu also knew that his strength was not strong enough to collect a spirit vein. Yang Hongwu rushed towards the place with the densest spiritual qi. It was the peak of the Earth Demon Mountain. Many parts of the mountain were destroyed. After all, there had been such a terrifying battle. However, because of the spirit vein, the Earth Demon Mountain was exceptionally sturdy. Even such a terrifying impact did not completely destroy the Earth Demon Mountain. This was the benefit of a spirit vein. A spirit vein would not only make the spiritual energy in the area rich and dense, but it would also give birth to many precious spirit herbs, plants, and trees. It would also make the surrounding soil and rocks more solid, and the entire mountain would become more sturdy. The benefits of a spirit vein were enormous. This went without saying. Therefore, no matter who it was, they all wanted a spirit vein. Normally, all the large sects and clans would search for a spirit vein and establish their sect or clan on it. The 4 major immortal mansions, the 7 major sects, and the 10 major families, all of them were built on spirit veins. Of course, once the spirit vein was exhausted, it would be a huge blow to them. The spiritual qi of a spirit vein could slowly change a martial artist's physique. Those who were born in spirit veins usually had better physiques than ordinary people. They were also more talented, smarter, and stronger. For a family's inheritance, the more talents they had, the better. Therefore, there was a huge difference between having a spirit vein and not having one. Some small families, without the nourishment of a spirit vein, would be further behind the big families. Just like the gap between the rich and the poor, it would become two extremes. The poor would become poorer and poorer, while the rich would become richer and richer. In fact, this was not absolute. There were still other situations. Not all families that occupied a spirit vein would prosper forever. The strength of a family was not the absolute foundation of a family's survival. As the saying went, there was always someone better than you. Unless a family's power was at the peak, no other family could shake it. If it had absolute strength, then it might be possible. Basically, the reason why some powerful families were exterminated was because of the family itself. It was not because they were not strong enough, but because of other reasons. No matter what, a spirit vein was incomparably precious. In the ancient domain, there was no one who had the strength to obtain a powerful spirit vein. At most, it would be some small spirit vein. Moreover, it would cost a lot to obtain it. However, Nini was different. Nini could do it. She was the longevity ancient tree. Moreover, she had a special secret technique. Yang Hongwu quickly arrived at the top of the mountain. The top of the mountain looked like the mouth of a volcano. It looked like a huge bathtub. The inside of the bathtub was lush and verdant. It was full of vitality. However, it was not easy to go down. The spiritual qi here was abundant, but the pressure was also very great. There seemed to be a special power of law here. Yang Hongwu frowned. This place did not seem so simple. It seemed like there was an even bigger secret hidden here. Moreover, Yang Hongwu's feeling was getting more and more intense. Mao take a look. What's the situation below? Yang Hongwu used his mind to communicate with Mao. Down there, Yang Hongwu felt uneasy. He didn't know where this uneasy feeling came from, but according to his past experience, whenever he felt uneasy, something bad would happen. In other words, there might be danger down there. This danger was even more intense than when he had encountered the Earth Demon Emperor. Chapter 674. Search Mao shook her head and said, "Brother, I can't see what's going on down there. My delusion breaker eye is blocked by an invisible force." Yang Hongwu was shocked when he heard that. The delusion breaker eye was blocked. It was indeed not simple down there. Then, should he go down there? If the delusion breaker eye could not see through it, it meant that there were many unknown dangers down there. This made Yang Hongwu hesitate. Of course, he only hesitated for a moment. After a few thoughts, Yang Hongwu made up his mind. He had to go down there. It was a spiritual vein. There was no reason for him not to go down there. Perhaps, other than the spirit vein, there were other things that could be found below. After taking a deep breath, Yang Hongwu decided to go down there. "Master, why don't you let me go down first?" At this moment, Old Ape said. "No need. You're not strong enough. I'm afraid you don't have the ability to go down there." Yang Hongwu shook his head. Although Old Ape was strong, the pressure here was too much for Old Ape to bear. Old Ape could not bear it at all. However, to Yang Hongwu, this pressure was not only harmless, but it was also of great help to him. It was constantly tempering his physical body and allowing him to break through. Yang Hongwu's strength had reached level 1 divine realm. His foundation was strong, but he could use this opportunity to refine his body. His body was very strong. After all, it was the 9 dragons' sacred body. The 9 dragons' sacred body had not been activated yet. In fact, Yang Hongwu could practice dual cultivation with Gu Shaoxian and break through to the next realm of the 9 transformation Yin-Yang harmony art. However, Yang Hongwu did not want to do so now. Yang Hongwu knew that Gu Shaoxian had feelings for him. This feeling was not because of the contract that Gu Shaoxian had signed with him. It was real and natural. Even so, Yang Hongwu did not want to take Gu Xiaoshuan's virginity unless it was a last resort. Moreover, there was another reason. Yang Hongwu wanted to refine his body to the extreme during the next transformation. Yang Hongwu found that the 9 transformation yin-yang harmony art was very powerful. If he could refine his body to the extreme before each transformation, it would be of great help to his future improvement. The stronger his body was before the breakthrough, the greater his strength would be after the breakthrough. His cultivation foundation would also be more stable. The path of cultivation was like sailing on the sea. The strength of one's physical body was like the strength of a ship. In order to sail further on the ocean, the ship had to be sturdier and more reliable. If they went down from here and entered the source of the spirit vein, the pressure would become greater and greater. They might even encounter some unknown dangers. However, this would give Yang Hongwu a lot of benefits. Big brother, it's very dangerous to go down from here. I have a feeling that you should put on the dragon turtle armor first. Yang Hongwu was about to move. At this moment, Nini's voice sounded in Yang Hongwu's mind. Nini, what do you feel? Yang Hongwu hurriedly asked. The dragon tortoise armor was the treasure armor he had obtained from the earth demon human king. Although it wasn't an emperor weapon, it was still a very impressive armor. If he could obtain the dragon tortoise core and primordial spirit and insert them into this dragon tortoise armor, this armor could truly transform into an emperor weapon. However, dragon turtles were very rare and very powerful. Their defense was too terrifying. Even a true great emperor would not be able to kill a dragon turtle easily. In the ancient region, it was even more impossible for him to do so. Even if there was, no one could kill a dragon turtle. Regarding this, Yang Hongwu could only say that he was helpless. Of course, Yang Hongwu did not plan to use the dragon turtle armor for himself. Instead, he wanted to give it to his woman to protect her. As for now, Nini wanted Yang Hongwu to put on the armor and continue to explore. This made Yang Hongwu very hesitant. The reason for this was that Yang Hongwu wanted to temper his body. One must know that tempering one's body required a very special environment with very strong pressure and dense spiritual energy. This was a wonderful place. Even the Tianyi Immortal Mansion did not have such a good place. Thus, if he did not make use of this opportunity in the ancient domain, it would be practically impossible for him to do so in the future. Thus, this was a very difficult choice for Yang Hongwu. No need. Yang Hongwu shook his head and said, since this kind of opportunity was hard to come by, even if he had to take a risk, it was worth it. Only in danger could one obtain the greatest progress. Only under pressure could one obtain the greatest progress. But, big brother, this is too dangerous. If something happens, I'm afraid I won't be able to do anything. Nini said very worriedly. The things below made Nini feel very dangerous. Thus, when Yang Hongwu refused to put on the armor, Nini was very worried. She did not know if telling Yang Hongwu that the spirit vein could allow Shurbauer to quickly awaken and even increase Shurbauer's cultivation was a good thing or a bad thing. There's no need to say any more. I've already decided. This is an opportunity. Yang Hongwu said. All right. Nini also knew what he was talking about. She had lived in Yang Hongwu's divine mansion for so long. Although she did not know everything about Yang Hongwu, she was very clear about it. Yang Hongwu began to climb down. The cliff was very smooth. Yang Hongwu was very careful. Originally, Yang Hongwu planned to summon the Dapeng Golden Eagle and let Xiao Jin go down to explore, but after thinking about it, he decided not to. Yang Hongwu used the spiritual cat clone to go first. His original body followed closely behind. The lower he went, the greater the pressure and the denser the spiritual energy. Whoosh! Suddenly, Yang Hongwu felt a cold wind. On the cliff, a black shadow launched an attack at Yang Hongwu. Yang Hongwu abruptly threw out a punch. The fist force collided with the black shadow, causing a loud explosion. The black shadow was heavily hit on the stone wall, smashing a hole, and blood splashed out. Yang Hongwu took a closer look. It was a small snake, a very ordinary small snake. However, this small snake's eyes were very strange. Its eyes seemed to have spikes. It was very strange. Big brother, this is the most ordinary snake on Earth Demon Mountain. It's not even a savage beast. At this time, Mauer said, an ordinary small snake actually has such a terrifying combat strength? Yang Hongwu took a deep breath. That was really terrifying. This was just an ordinary snake. If it was a powerful savage beast, such as level 8 or level 9, how powerful would it be? Chapter 675. Mutant Flying Dragon. The treasure was tempting, but the danger was also getting stronger. If he wanted to get the treasure, he had to face the terrifying and unknown danger. This was something that could not be changed. Brother, it's too dangerous down there. If we retreat now, we can still make it. It'll be much safer if we wait for Sister Bao to wake up. Sister Bao is powerful and knowledgeable. She definitely knows what's down there. Nini wanted to stop Yang Hongwu from going down again at this time. Nini, I know you're doing this for my own good, but it's not my style to give up halfway. Yang Hongwu rejected her again. He increased his speed and climbed down. The pressure was great, and the spiritual qi was getting denser. The dense spiritual qi was constantly washing and tempering Yang Hongwu's body. After descending 60 to 70 feet, Yang Hongwu felt that his cultivation was about to break through to level 2 of the divine realm. Yang Hongwu was shocked by this. He had just broken through to level 1 of the divine realm, and had not stabilized it yet. Moreover, he needed to accumulate a lot of energy every time he broke through to level 1 of the divine realm. It could be said that the energy he needed to break through to level 2 of the divine realm was much more terrifying than the energy an ordinary warrior needed to break through to level 2 of the honorable realm. From this, it could be seen how terrifying the spiritual qi here was. Not only was the spiritual qi's quality terrifying, but its quantity was also shocking. Only such a terrifying amount of spiritual qi could allow Yang Hongwu to show signs of a breakthrough in such a short period of time. Of course, Yang Hongwu would not break through now. He had to suppress it until his body reached its limit. Therefore, even if there was a chance to break through now, Yang Hongwu would not do it. He continued to climb down. Bit by bit, gusts of wind blew. This wind was extremely cold, but Yang Hongwu's body was covered in bean-sized beads of sweat that dripped down from his forehead and temples. Phew! Phew! Suddenly, another series of sounds echoed in Yang Hongwu's ears. This was different from the sound of the wind. It was mixed with a strong stench. A big guy, whose body was like a black cloud, blocked his line of sight. Its huge mouth opened wide, which reminded Yang Hongwu of the pterosaur from the dinosaur era on Earth. Of course, this guy was closer to an enlarged bat. However, the only difference was that this guy had a sharp horn on his head. This horn was similar to a bull's horn. There were also ancient runes on the horn. Streaks of lightning flashed. The runes on it reminded Yang Hongwu of the demonic dragon's horn that he had refined before. It was very similar to the demonic dragon's horn, especially the ancient runes and restrictions on it. They were almost exactly the same. Could it be that this giant bat, no, it should be a flying dragon, was a descendant of the demonic dragon clan? This fellow's strength was not to be underestimated. This was something that Yang Hongwu had already deeply felt when he encountered those small snakes before. Most importantly, this guy could fly. Under this terrifying pressure, it did not seem to be restricted at all. Such a situation was very unfavorable for Yang Hongwu. He was at an absolute disadvantage. However, despite this, Yang Hongwu was still confident. There were still ways to deal with this guy. What Yang Hongwu wanted to do now was to see if he could tame this guy. In that case, he could become his own informant. Brother, I'll deal with this guy. A voice appeared in Yang Hongwu's spiritual sea. It was Luli. Hearing Lu Li's words, Yang Hongwu was overjoyed. Lu Li finally woke up at this critical moment. This flying dragon was also a dragon, and had the bloodline of dragons. If he wanted to deal with it, it would take a lot of effort. However, with the help of Lu Li, it would be much easier. Dealing with this guy was as easy as blowing off dust. Great, Lu Li, you woke up. Then I'll leave this guy to you. I want to catch it alive and make this beast our informant. Yang Hongwu did not have time to ask Lu Li other things and directly handed the task to her. Don't worry, brother. Although this guy has mutated, the bloodline in his body is still the bloodline of dragons. As long as it is a dragon, and its strength has not reached the level of a sage, I can suppress it. What's more, this mutated flying dragon is just a low-level dragon. Its bloodline is mixed and not worth mentioning. Lu Li's tone was very confident. She turned into a colorful light and shot out from between Yang Hongwu's eyebrows and landed beside Yang Hongwu, turning into a beautiful girl. Her figure was impeccable, and her facial features could not be described with words at all. Compared to before, she had grown a lot and became more beautiful. Yang Hongwu was a little dazed. Even though Yang Hongwu was used to seeing beautiful women, he was also a little dazed for a moment. Seeing Yang Hongwu looking at her like this, Lu Li's pretty face blushed slightly, but she was very happy in her heart. Every woman hoped that their beauty would be appreciated by others. Although Lu Li was a dragon, she was also a woman and was no exception. At this time, the flying dragon had already rushed up. Its speed was extremely fast, and it only took the blink of an eye. Lu Li moved. Her body was light, and her movements were extremely graceful. With a gentle wave of her right hand, a 7-colored light turned into a 7-colored scarf, which immediately wrapped around the flying dragon. Then, Lu Li pointed out with her left hand and landed on the forehead of the flying dragon. The originally entangled flying dragon was struggling before, but after being touched by this finger, its body suddenly shook and then became docile. What was even more shocking was that the black dragon horn on its forehead was gradually changing color. From its original black color, it was now white. The runes on the dragon horn also changed. Of course, the change did not seem to be big, only some places changed. Although Yang Hongwu had some understanding of runes, after all, he was not a rune master. A rune master and a talisman master were not the same, although there were some connections between the two. However, rune masters could inscribe runes anywhere and under any circumstances. For example, they could inscribe runes on weapons, living creatures, and even souls. However, it was different for talismans. Yang Hongwu was a talisman master, and a 7th-grade talisman master, but there was no way for him to engrave talisman seals on living creatures' souls. In fact, runes and talisman seals were inseparable in ancient times. Later on, they gradually evolved into 2 different directions, becoming rune master and talisman master. Rune masters specialized in various kinds of runes and engraved them on weapons and other equipment. Talisman masters engraved runes on a piece of animal skin and instilled power into it to make talisman seals. Chapter 676. The mysterious figure in the abyss. In fact, talisman masters and rune masters were the same. When they reached the highest level, they would become the same. Whether it was talisman or talisman, they would be able to use them easily. There were 3,000 ways to achieve Tao. Chirp, chirp. Yang Hongwu smiled bitterly when he heard the wyvern's chirp. It was so ferocious just a moment ago, but now it had become a gentle little bird. He had to admit that Lu Li's strength had increased a lot after he woke up. From this point, it could be seen that the wyvern's strength was not simple. Although it was not an 8th-level savage beast, its combat strength was not weaker than an 8th-level savage beast. However, such a powerful combat strength was easily subdued by Lu Li. Lu Li's strength had probably increased a lot. "Brother, this little guy has been subdued by me," Lu Li said to Yang Hongwu proudly. Yang Hongwu knew that Lu Li was asking for credit. He smiled and said, "Lu Li, thank you very much. If you didn't help me, I'm afraid it would be impossible for me to subdue this little guy. Lu Li's awakening had indeed helped Yang Hongwu a lot. In fact, Yang Hongwu was still confident if it was just a wyvern. However, the problem now was not just a wyvern. Because of the cat's reminder to Yang Hongwu, several other wyverns similar to this one flew over. They were all mutated wyverns. His speed was very fast, just like a sharp arrow. He quickly rushed in the direction of Yang Hongwu. Yang Hongwu guessed that these wyverns were probably summoned by this little guy. Of course not. Even if I didn't appear, it would be easy for you to deal with this little guy. Brother, you've broken through so fast. Now you're already at the peak of level 1 Divine Realm. When you unleash your combat strength, you can even kill a venerable realm expert easily. Although this little wyvern's strength is not bad, it's only a 7th level savage beast after all. Lu Li said. Yang Hongwu smiled bitterly and said, Lu Li, don't you think there's something wrong here? Moreover, we're in trouble again. Lu Li stuck out her tongue and said cutely, I didn't notice it. I was too happy. I didn't. Yang Hongwu smiled bitterly again. This little Lu Li, she was once a famous and powerful empress. How could she still have such a temper after she obtained memory inheritance? He really didn't know how she managed to reach the Emperor realm back then. Brother, don't worry. Leave these wyverns to me. With that, Lu Li jumped up and stepped on the wyvern that she had subdued. She went up to meet the wyvern that was rushing towards them aggressively. A 7-colored long whip appeared in her hand. When she waved the long whip, it made a cracking sound. Standing there, she looked majestic and valiant. She had a unique beauty that made people feel as if they were in a painting. Yang Hongwu was a little worried about other sudden incidents. He had to jump up and walk in the air to support Lu Li. After all, this place was very strange. There might be unknown dangers around. He didn't want anything to happen to Lu Li. After flying up, Yang Hongwu's expression changed slightly. There was a huge difference between flying and climbing on the stone wall. After flying, although the pressure didn't change, the consumption of energy was dozens of times more than before. However, there was also an advantage in this way. That was, the tempering and transformation of the body were faster than before. Although the pressure was the same, the cleansing and tempering of Yang Hongwu's body by the spiritual energy was nearly 3 times faster than before. Yang Hongwu had never thought of such a benefit. Moreover, in this way, Yang Hongwu didn't have to suppress his cultivation realm. Under such circumstances, the spiritual energy no longer condensed, but directly cleansed and tempered the body. Not far away, Lu Li had already encountered the wyverns. Lu Li's method was beyond Yang Hongwu's expectation. All of a sudden, she transformed into 7 figures. These 7 figures were all real and not illusory. The 7 Lu Li dealt with 1 wyvern each. The 7 wyverns were subdued in an instant by the 7 of them. The black dragon horns of the 7 wyverns also changed. They turned white and became docile. They lined up and flew in the direction of Yang Hongwu. Lu Li jumped up and pounced on Yang Hongwu. Yang Hongwu was caught off guard and was thrown into Lu Li's arms. Lu Li hugged Yang Hongwu's neck and said softly, Brother, these wyverns have been subdued by me. Do you think I'm powerful? Yes, very powerful. Lu Li is the best. However, Lu Li, don't you want to come down first? Yang Hongwu smelled Lu Li's aura and said awkwardly. Lu Li had the purest bloodline of dragons. She had the body of a divine dragon. He also had the bloodline of dragons. His bloodline was no worse than Lu Li's. When Lu Li was so close to him, Yang Hongwu had an indescribable feeling and a special impulse. Didn't you hug me like this before? Lu Li said. Yang Hongwu smiled bitterly. In the past, this was simply a joke. He used to hug Lu Li like this because she was just a little girl, but now it was different. She had grown up. Now Lu Li, you have grown up. It's not appropriate for you to hug me like this. Yang Hongwu explained. He thought to himself, this Lu Li, I don't know if she is pretending or doing it deliberately. What's wrong with growing up? It's the same when I grow up. Anyway. I will marry my brother in the future. After Lu Li finished speaking, her face blushed. Her small head was deeply buried in Yang Hongwu's arms. No matter what Yang Hongwu said, she didn't raise her head. When Yang Hongwu heard this, he was stunned. This Lu Li actually said such words. Yang Hongwu didn't know whether to be happy or helpless. He could only smile bitterly. Lu Li, can you come down first? Yang Hongwu said, we still have other things to deal with. We still have to go down. There are many dangers down there. Why don't you go back to my divine mansion first? No. Lu Li finally raised her head, looked at Yang Hongwu, shook her head, and said, I want to go with my brother. There is a powerful force down there. These little wyverns told me that there is a terrifying guy down there. The reason why they became like this is because of that guy. This time, he wants them to take you back. Yang Hongwu's face sank when he heard this. There is a guy down there, a terrifying guy. The reason why these wyverns became like this and became mutant wyverns was actually because of that guy. What kind of person is he? What is his background? Chapter 677. Shattered Stars Demonic Vine. Lu Li, can you ask your wyverns if they know the strength of that guy? Yang Hongwu asked. Yang Hongwu frowned with the presence of this mysterious guy. However, he had no choice but to go down. Since he was already here, there was no reason for him not to go down. What's more, that guy didn't even come up here himself. Perhaps he was imprisoned here like the Earth Demon Emperor. If that was the case, there was no need for him to be afraid. No matter how powerful that guy was, he was already sealed. There was no need for him to be worried. He's very powerful, Lu Li said. They don't even have the chance to resist or escape in front of that guy. He can easily annihilate their entire clan with just a thought. He can annihilate the entire clan of wyverns with just a thought? Yang Hongwu was shocked when he heard that. That guy was extraordinarily powerful. Although the strength of these wyverns wasn't top-notch, he was still able to annihilate them with just a thought. Could it be that the guy's strength had already reached the Great Emperor realm? Only a great emperor could kill so many level 7 savage beasts with just a thought. Even a great sage couldn't do it. Even if he's powerful, he still has to go down. Yang Hongwu took a deep breath and said, I wonder who that guy is. I don't know. These wyverns have never seen his appearance. They only heard his voice in their minds. Moreover, if they refuse him, their heads will explode and they will die. Lu Li shook her head and said. These were what the wyverns told her. This made her very shocked. Of course, if she was still a great emperor, she could still do this. However, if she hadn't reached the Great Emperor realm, it was almost impossible to do this. It wasn't easy to kill so many level 7 savage beasts with just a thought. Of course, there was another possibility if he wasn't a great emperor. Thinking of this, Lu Li said to Yang Hongwu, Brother, actually, there's another possibility. What's that? Yang Hongwu asked. That guy's strength shouldn't have reached the Great Emperor realm yet. It's absolutely impossible for someone who has reached the Great Emperor realm to be in this space, unless it's just a remnant soul. There's a great seal on this world. In addition, the law doesn't allow great emperors to exist in this space. That's the supreme law. Unless his strength has surpassed the Great Emperor realm, it's impossible for him to violate this law. The great emperors you've seen before are actually just the consciousness of great emperors, said Lu Li. The difference between the Emperor realm and the Saint realm and the Exalt realm was too great. The Earth Demon Sovereign's strength was comparable to the Great Emperor realm, but in reality, the gap between them and the Great Emperor realm was like heaven and earth. Great emperors, the Great Emperor, the Great Emperor, the Great Emperor was the Great. Or, the Great Emperor's Emperor Emperor. Emperor Emperor Emu. It was impossible for a real great emperor to take action in Jyotian City. He could only take action outside of Jyotian City. Once he took action in Jyotian City, he would encounter great terror and cause the entire Jyotian City to collapse. The great emperor who took action would also suffer endless punishment. Only those who had reached the great emperor realm would know about this. Whether he's a great emperor or not, I have to go down and take a look, Yang Hongwu said. If it was just a great emperor's thought, his strength would be greatly improved if he devoured it. If that didn't work, he could still enter the little devil world. Or, he could dual cultivate with Gu Shaoxian and break through to the Yin-Yang fifth transformation realm. Then, his strength would increase greatly. At that time, he could use the battle spirit possession to protect himself. Seeing that there was no way to persuade Yang Hongwu, Lu Li said, "Brother, I'll go down and explore the way first." "No need." Yang Hongwu shook his head. "Let my psychic cat clone go down and explore the way." The strength of the psychic cat clone increased along with the strength of Yang Hongwu. Now that it had reached the venerable realm, its strength increased rapidly. The psychic cat clone continued to sink. With the strength of the venerable realm, it encountered many attacks from other savage beasts. However, the psychic cat moved quickly and didn't entangle with them. It soon dived to a position of 300 feet. Below, there was heavy fog. It was impossible to see what was going on below. This made Yang Hongwu somewhat helpless. Even the cat's delusion breaker eye couldn't see clearly. It was even more difficult for him to see with his naked eyes. Yang Hongwu wondered if he should cultivate a supernatural power similar to the delusion breaker eye. That way, it would be much more convenient. If one day the cat was in a deep sleep or left, he would be able to see the surroundings clearly. However, for Yang Hongwu, ordinary supernatural powers were nothing. At the very least, it was an emperor technique. However, an emperor technique wasn't so easy to obtain. Even if one obtained it, it wouldn't be so easy to cultivate it. Yang Hongwu's original body also continued to dive. When he reached a depth of 300 feet, he stopped and his clone continued to dive. At this time, the clone had already reached a position of 600 feet. This position was already very far, but there was still a long way to go to the bottom. However, at this time, Yang Hongwu's psychic cat clone encountered some trouble. Vines. A huge vine attacked Yang Hongwu. The dense vines were like a person's hair. There were tens of thousands of them, and they constantly whipped towards Yang Hongwu. Yang Hongwu shouted softly. His body spun like a spinning top. He held the saber with both hands and constantly waved it. The saber light formed a huge whirlpool, cutting all the dense vines into pieces. One by one, the vines fell to the ground. "Damn cat!" The vine turned into a human face. It looked at Yang Hongwu and said in a low voice. At this time, Lin Fan's mind moved. This guy was a plant. It would be easy for Nini to deal with him. Lin Fan's original body quickly sank. In just a dozen breaths, Yang Hongwu's original body appeared beside his clone. The clone merged with his original body. Human? Clone? This vine's intelligence wasn't low. When it saw Yang Hongwu's appearance, it immediately understood that the psychic cat was just a clone. Yang Hongwu didn't have so much time to talk nonsense with this guy. He communicated with Nini telepathically. "Nini, I'll leave this guy to you. And big brother, don't worry. This should be a variant of the Shattered Stars demonic vine. There's nothing special about it," Nini said. A small shadow of a small tree appeared in the air. Its roots stretched out very quickly. In an instant, it plunged into the vine and began to absorb its power. Chapter 678. Another 9 pearl. Although the Shattered Stars demonic vine was powerful, it was no match for the longevity ancient tree. Nini devoured the Shattered Stars demonic vine's energy crazily. Suddenly, her huge body started to wither, losing its water and vitality. Not long after, she turned into dust. "It's done." Nini burped and said, "Brother, there's a lot of energy in this guy's body. It can help me improve my cultivation." Yang Hongwu understood what she meant. She was telling him that if there were more demonic vines like this, he should ask her to improve her cultivation. Yang Hongwu was overjoyed. This way, he could kill 2 birds with 1 stone. To Yang Hongwu, this was exactly what he wanted. Although Yang Hongwu could deal with the demonic vine, he would not be as fast as Nini. It was like how Luli dealt with the flying dragons. Nini was the nemesis of plant-type savage beasts. Of course, the Shattered Star's demonic vine was a special savage beast. It could be considered a demonic beast. There were some differences between demonic beasts and savage beasts. Demonic beasts were more intelligent than savage beasts. Generally speaking, those with lower intelligence were called savage beasts. Those with higher intelligence and stronger strength were called demonic beasts. Some demonic beasts were even born with extremely high intelligence. They were even more powerful than human babies. When they were born, they carried with them their inherited memories. Unlike humans, whose wisdom and knowledge would continue to grow as they grew older, they were born with inherited memories. In other words, they were instilled with memories. Of course, only a small number of demonic beasts or powerful savage beasts were able to do that. After a few breaths, Yang Hongwu went down again. The further down he went, the greater the pressure. The spiritual qi became denser. The spiritual qi here seemed to have become viscous, like a liquid. His movements were very slow and he had difficulty breathing. If one was not strong enough, it would be impossible to cultivate in such a dense spiritual qi. If it was an ordinary divine realm expert, not only would he not be able to cultivate, but he would also not be able to absorb the spiritual qi. Instead, the spiritual qi in his body would be devoured. That was the most terrifying part. Moreover, the spiritual qi seemed to be constantly changing and increasing. It began to change from quantity to quality. He took a deep breath. The spiritual qi here was too terrifying and too rich. If he could absorb this spiritual qi into the space of the immortal pagoda, he might be able to obtain an unexpected harvest. With that thought in mind, Yang Hongwu gave it a try. With a thought, the space of the immortal pagoda opened, and the 9th heaven mysterious Een pagoda began to devour the spiritual qi like a starving tiger. All of a sudden, a huge vortex was formed. Countless amounts of spiritual energy, which was as viscous as liquid, were crazily sucked in like a dragon sucking in water. A huge spirit qi dragon was being devoured. Yang Hongwu was stunned. He had never thought that something like this would happen. It was simply too shocking. Yang Hongwu knew that something was faintly awakening inside the Immortal Tower. Once the Immortal Tower's artifact spirit awakens, the strength of the Immortal Tower would rise to a whole new level. So, at this time, with a sound, a white light penetrated the spiritual qi and shot toward this side at an astonishing speed. Yang Hongwu was shocked. He waved his hand and formed a large shield, trying to block the white light, but to no avail. The white light flashed and bypassed Yang Hongwu's large shield. This is... Yang Hongwu found that the white light entered the 9th heaven mysterious Een pagoda all of a sudden. It was the 9 Een pearl. He didn't expect it to be the 9 Een pearl. He had obtained a few 9 Een pearls with great difficulty, but he didn't expect that there would be one here, and it flew out by itself. Yang Hongwu felt a little strange. There seemed to be a voice below, which made Yang Hongwu feel terrified. It was just a sigh. Who the hell is this person? Should I continue? At this time, Yang Hongwu was a little hesitant. There was a saying that wealth came from danger. If he continued, he would obtain unexpected benefits. Of course, there would also be unknown dangers. This 9 Een pearl was probably released by the guy below. He had sensed the existence of the 9th heaven mysterious Een pagoda. What is that guy's purpose? Does he want me to go down? Yang Hongwu didn't know. He didn't have a clue, but this had indeed successfully aroused Yang Hongwu's curiosity. The 9 Een pearl was very tempting to Yang Hongwu. It was even more tempting than the emperor weapon. Yang Hongwu had an emperor weapon, but the 9 pearl was a part of the 9th heaven mysterious pagoda. If an emperor weapon and a 9 pearl were placed in front of Yang Hongwu, without any hesitation, Yang Hongwu would choose the 9 pearl. With the addition of the 9 pearl, the 9th heaven mysterious pagoda's power increased, and the artifact spirit recovered faster. The speed of absorbing spiritual qi was also faster than before. Moreover, the 9th heaven mysterious pagoda didn't just absorb spiritual qi. At this time, it also fed back to Yang Hongwu, increasing his strength and tempering his physical body. Originally, Yang Hongwu's physical body had been tempered to the extreme. If he wanted to continue tempering, it wasn't possible. The spiritual qi here was too overbearing compared to above. Even if Yang Hongwu's physical body was very strong, it was still difficult for him to bear. However, the spiritual qi fed back by the 9th heaven mysterious pagoda was different. It was very gentle. This gentle spiritual qi was constantly healing some of the minor internal injuries that Yang Hongwu had caused when he forcefully tempered his physical body. Nini's strength was also increasing. She was also absorbing the spiritual qi. After absorbing it, she released pure energy. This energy was the power of longevity. This power of longevity was very beneficial to Yang Hongwu's body. Nini absorbed the spiritual qi and fed it back to Yang Hongwu. This couldn't be said to be the longevity pond's water from before. It had far surpassed that level. God knows how many people would fight for a drop of it. It was priceless. No, it was priceless. These things could increase the lifespan of martial artists and improve their physique. It was the dream of those old antiques who had reached the end of their lifespan. If someone saw how extravagant Yang Hongwu was, using the spiritual qi to heal and temper his physical body, they would be heartbroken. After an unknown period of time, the absorption speed of the immortal pagoda slowed down. Nini also stopped absorbing spiritual qi. Yang Hongwu's strength had broken through. Divine Realm Level 2. Yang Hongwu's strength had reached Divine Realm Level 2. Moreover, it was stable at the peak of Divine Realm Level 2. Chapter 679. Kong Chiu, come down. A voice rang out in Yang Hongwu's mind. It was an old voice that sounded very tired. Who is it? Don't worry, I won't harm you, the voice said. Who are you? Yang Hongwu frowned. He wouldn't go down so easily. I told you, don't be afraid. You'll know who I am when you come down, the voice said. Brother, I don't recommend going down, Nini said. I don't recommend it either. It's too dangerous, Lu Li also said at this time. Yes, the two sisters are right. Brother, it's too dangerous. It's best not to go. Even Mao said so. Don't you want the 9 pearl? The voice said again. Looking down, he couldn't see the bottom. 9 pearl. If it was the 9 pearl, he had to get it. If he couldn't get the 9 pearl, the 9 heavens mysterious tower wouldn't be complete, and he wouldn't be able to find out the true secret. The 9 heavens mysterious tower couldn't be completely opened. Yang Hongwu had a feeling that there was a huge secret in the 9 heavens mysterious tower. And this huge secret could only be found out after the 9 heavens mysterious tower was completely restored. At this time, the immortal tower's spirit hadn't recovered yet, but it seemed to have awakened a little. Go. A message appeared in Yang Hongwu's mind. That was the immortal tower's spirit. After sending out this message, Yang Hongwu couldn't get the immortal tower to send out any other message. This made Yang Hongwu feel very helpless. The immortal tower asked him to go down. Clearly, there really was the 9 pearl below. It was another part of the immortal tower. If you're really worried, you can send a clone down. Your spiritual cat clone, the voice said again. Yang Hongwu thought about it. This was good. With a thought, the spiritual cat clone appeared. To Yang Hongwu, even if the spiritual cat clone was killed, it wouldn't be fatal to Yang Hongwu. It would just lower his strength and take a long time to recover. His life wasn't in danger. However, if something really happened to the clone, it would be dangerous for him to participate in the Immortal Mansion ranking battle and enter the 5 extreme space in a month's time. The spiritual cat clone appeared next to the Immortal Tower. Immortal Tower. Immortal Tower was. However, if the mysterious guy below really wanted to harm him, even if the strength of the doppelganger was increased by another level, it would still be easily killed. Yang Hongwu Immortal Tower. After 80 breaths of time, the clone descended to the lowest level. Because of the mysterious man's order, Yang Hongwu didn't encounter any powerful savage beasts or demonic beasts along the way. The journey was very smooth, but along the way, Yang Hongwu clearly sensed many powerful auras. These powerful auras were even stronger than the Earth Devil Human King. The Immortal Transcend Tower. Yang Hongwu Immortal Tower. Immortal Tower. Yang Hongwu Immortal Tower. It was a pity that it was just a puppet and not a real spiritual cat. Otherwise, Yang Hongwu Immortal Tower's strength would be 10 times, or even 10,000 times stronger. When he reached the bottom, a teleportation array appeared before him. Enter the teleportation array. It will send you here, the voice said. Without any hesitation, Yang Hongwu stepped into the teleportation array. A ray of light flashed and Yang Hongwu felt a wave of dizziness. Then, in the next moment, he appeared in a special space. The immortal chi in this space was very rich and the scenery was very beautiful. It was like a paradise on earth. In this immortal secret realm, a middle-aged man in scholarly robes sat beside a pond. He held a fishing rod in his hand. Who the hell are you? Looking at this person, Yang Hongwu Immortal Tower. He was more ordinary than an ordinary person. It was as if this world was him. If one didn't use their eyes, they wouldn't be able to sense his existence. He was clearly sitting there, but there was no trace of his aura. Terrifying, too terrifying. Although this was only Yang Hongwu Immortal Tower's clone, his eyesight was still there. He could see the same thing as the main body. However, if the clone couldn't see it, the main body would be the same. The man sighed and turned around. He had the appearance of an ordinary Confucian scholar. He was very ordinary, and there was nothing special about him. However, Yang Hongwu Immortal Tower had a very harmonious appearance. It was as if he was the world. This made Yang Hongwu think of a phrase, unity of heaven and man. Yes, unity of heaven and man. It was a perfect fusion between heaven and earth. He was there. He was the heaven and earth. It was harmonious to the extreme. There was nothing wrong with it. Yang Hongwu Immortal Tower took a deep breath. This scholar's cultivation had probably reached the great emperor realm. Only great emperors could achieve unity of heaven and man, the true unity of heaven and man. Ordinary people, even great sages, couldn't do it. I once had a name called Kong Chiu, the scholar said. Yang Hongwu Immortal Tower didn't think much of it at first. He just felt that the name was a little familiar. However, suddenly Yang Hongwu Immortal Tower's eyes widened. Kong Chiu, King Kong Chiu, wasn't that Confucius's name? Confucius, the sage, was a famous figure on earth. He was the founder of Confucianism, a true almighty. Sage Kong, you're not joking with me, right? You're that Kong Chiu? Yang Hongwu Immortal Tower didn't know what to say. His voice was trembling. That's right. I came from the same place as you. Kong Chiu looked at Yang Hongwu Immortal Tower and said, I didn't expect that after so many years, another fellow countryman would come to Jutian City. We've waited for too long. Senior, you really came from there? Yang Hongwu Immortal Tower took a deep breath. Then, Yu Xingtian, Bai Qi and the others also came from that place? The scholar nodded and said, That's right. We all came from the same place. Every 9,000 years, a fellow countryman would appear. However, after Zhang Sanfeng, he hadn't appeared for 100,000 years. You're the one we waited for a full 100,000 years for. 100,000 years. Yang Hongwu Immortal Tower was stunned. One every 9,000 years, and it was 100,000 years for him. In that world, Zhang Sanfeng's era was the Ming Dynasty, and his era was the 21st century. The difference was only a few hundred years. However, here, how did it become 100,000 years? Moreover, it seemed that after coming to this world, everyone was a man of great talent and great wisdom. What about himself? Only he was an ordinary person, right? Senior, is there any difference between this world and our world? Or is there any connection? Yang Hongwu Immortal Tower asked. Chapter 680. Another bead. Of course there is a connection, Kong Qiu said. Otherwise, we wouldn't have entered this world for no reason. Senior, are you saying that the reason we appeared in this world is because there is a special connection between this world and our world? Yang Hongwu asked. Then what is this connection? Why are we here? Even I am not too sure about this, Kong Qiu shook his head. Kong Qiu shook his head. However, one thing is certain. We were able to enter this place because of a mighty figure. Perhaps it was the master of our original world who sent us here. The master of our world? Isn't that the great god Pangu? Yang Hongwu asked. No, it isn't. Kong Qiu shook his head. If it isn't the great god Pangu, then, is it Tao ancestor Hongjun? Yang Hongwu asked again. According to the legends, one of them was a super expert who created the world, and the other was Tao ancestor Hongjun, who ruled the world and merged with the Tao. Both of them were super strong. Legend had it that the great god Pangu died when the world was created, and his body turned into the primitive lands. As for Tao ancestor Hongjun, he used his body to fuse with the Tao, mending the incomplete heavenly Tao and becoming the strongest ruler of the entire great desolate world. Of course, that was just a legend on Earth. No one knew if it was true or not. Yang Hongwu himself was not sure. Not really. Kong Qiu shook his head and said, You don't have to ask about this. I also want to know who it is. Senior, how many people came with us in this world? Yang Hongwu asked. Who is the strongest person? How many people came with us in total? I don't know either, Kong Qiu said with a bitter smile. Kong Qiu smiled bitterly. Perhaps there were people who were transmitted here from that world a long time ago, but they may have died or their strength may have surpassed a certain level. In fact, even the legendary Pangu, who created the world, also came to this world and did not die. The great god Pangu is also in this world? That's right. Great god Pangu has come as well. Furthermore, he was the first to arrive in this world. However, Pangu has already ascended to a higher level. He has long since surpassed the 9 heavens and 10 earths and is no longer in this universe. Yang Hongwu took a deep breath. He doubted Kong Qiu's words. Kong Qiu was not that simple. Of course, even if Yang Hongwu was suspicious, he would not show it, let alone say it out loud. Regardless of whether the other party was a friend or foe, he had to get the benefits first. Yang Hongwu looked at Kong Qiu and said, These things are too far away for me. What I want now is not these things, but to raise my cultivation base. I can't even go up to the heaven region now. If I face supremacies and saints, I will only die. Therefore, Senior, if you really have the 9 pearl, can you give it to me? After all, that thing is useless to you. In fact, Yang Hongwu was more than 90% sure that this guy was not Kong Qiu at all. He did not come from the same place as him. This was because the wyverns from before had all been demonized and carried demonic qi. The person in front of him looked righteous on the surface, like a Confucian gentleman. He was very similar to the sage Confucius in his heart. But in reality, the real sage Confucius might not be like this. Sage Confucius might have really come to this world, but it was definitely not him. Of course, Yang Hongwu would not expose him now. He still wanted to get what he wanted. Yang Hongwu was not confident that he could deal with this guy. Therefore, he could not fall out with him now. Once he did, things would not be so simple. This clone of his was definitely not a match for him. Even if he sacrificed one of his clones, it would not be life-threatening for Yang Hongwu. But in that case, Yang Hongwu would not be able to break through his cultivation base in a short time. This was not a small blow. The 9-yin pearl is of no use to me. I obtained this pearl when I killed a demon, Kong Qiu said as he raised his hand. As Kong Qiu spoke, he waved his hand and a pearl spun in his hand. This pearl emitted a cold aura. It was the 9-yin pearl. He flicked it gently and the pearl flew towards Yang Hongwu. I only have 2 here. I just gave you one, so now I only have this one. However, I still know of a place where 9-yin pearls exist. However, with your current cultivation, you are still too weak. If you go there, it will be the same as going to your death. Kong Qiu's words revealed his concern for Yang Hongwu. The 9-yin pearl flew towards Yang Hongwu. Yang Hongwu frowned slightly, but did not show any other expression on his face. He reached out and wrapped the pearl with his spiritual power. He said, "Oh, Senior, please speak frankly. Where is that place? Senior, you should know that the 9-yin pearl is extremely important to me. If I'm able to obtain it, then my strength will ceaselessly increase. To tell you the truth, I'm going to do something important in a little over a month from now. At that time, it will be filled with danger, and it can be said that I'll have a slim chance of survival. So, I need to do my best to increase my cultivation during this period of a little over a month. If I'm able to attain the first step of the Exalt realm, then I'll have sufficient strength to protect myself." Yang Hongwu did not inspect the pearl directly. He did not sense anything strange. However, one must always be vigilant. Was this pearl really the 9-yin pearl? Although the pearl looked very similar to the 9-yin pearl, Yang Hongwu discovered that there was a restriction on it. The restriction was not very obvious, but Yang Hongwu still discovered it. The first step of the Exalted Realm? That's a problem. I can help you to reach the first Venerable Realm in a short time, but that won't do you any good in the future. There's no shortcut in cultivation. You have to build a good foundation, one step at a time. Your foundation is the strongest I've ever seen. I'm afraid that God Pangu isn't much stronger than you. You have the potential to surpass God Pangu. If I help you, it'll be like pulling a seedling to help it grow. If I help you improve your cultivation base, I will only help you improve your cultivation base. Kong Qiu looked at Yang Hongwu and said, however, if you integrate this 9-yin pearl into the 9-heaven mysterious yin tower, your cultivation base will improve by 1 or 2 levels. It should not be a problem for you to reach the 3rd or 4th level of the divine realm. However, there is a restriction on it. This restriction is very strange. It will not be easy to break it. Yang Hongwu was not surprised. Kong Qiu knew that he had seen through the restriction on it. Sure enough, he was not a simple character. Was he really Confucius? Yang Hongwu was really confused. Chapter 681. Restriction break. Oh, Senior, is this restriction very difficult to break? I think with Senior's strength, it shouldn't be too difficult for you to break a restriction, right? Yang Hongwu looked at Kong Qiu and said, "This guy is probably a hypocrite. Maybe he was the one who set up this restriction." Kong Qiu shook his head. "If I'm in my peak condition, I can break this restriction. But I can't do it now. Is there really no other way?" Yang Hongwu said with a helpless look on his face. "Maybe you can do it yourself." Kong Qiu said, "I suspect that the restriction on this bead was set up by the previous owner of the Immortal Tower in order to wait for a fated person. You can give it a try. Perhaps you can break the restriction." When Yang Hongwu heard this, he finally gave himself away. "You want me to break this restriction by myself? Isn't that the same as falling into your trap?" However, he probably didn't expect that I have a special method to break this restriction. Although this restriction is powerful and mysterious, if I don't touch it, it won't have any effect on me. I'll give it a try, Yang Hongwu said and took out a few restriction pills. Then, he threw the bead in the air. The restriction pills flew out and hit the bead. Rays of light exploded one after another. The restriction on the bead burst out. Soul restriction. A ray of purple light shot out. That's the restriction on the bead. It's a soul restriction. Once someone touches this restriction, they will be attacked by this soul restriction. The soul restriction can control the soul of the person who breaks the restriction and then take over their body. This is really vicious. Even if it's just a clone, once the soul is controlled by this restriction, the main body will also be greatly restricted. It's not impossible to control the main body with the clone's soul. When one's strength reaches a certain level, or if the difference in strength is too great, it's possible to control the soul of the main body through the clone. Yang Hongwu sneered. This time, he went for wool and came home shorn. This restriction was incomparably powerful and overbearing, but the backlash force was also very strong. If he failed, he would suffer a backlash. Kong Qiu had used a pill to break the seal, but he had never come into contact with a hex-breaking pill. Furthermore, pills did not have souls, so the fact that the seal was broken caused Kong Qiu's body to shudder, and a look of disbelief appeared in his eyes. His soul was injured, but he didn't show it. Of course, his expression was one of extreme shock. He had never thought that things would turn out like this. This lad's cultivation was only at the early divine realm, but he had actually broken the restrictive formation in front of him. He didn't even know how Yang Hongwu had broken the formation. Surprised, he was really too surprised. Of course, although he was very angry at Yang Hongwu and hurt him, he didn't show it. Because this was only a clone, there was no way for him to use the restriction to possess it. If he were to expose himself now, it wouldn't do him any good. What he wanted to do now was to lure Yang Hongwu's original body down. As long as he could lure his true self down, he would be able to truly control him. The restrictive formation is broken. Yang Hongwu grabbed the pearl. To Yang Hongwu's surprise, it was really a 9-yin pearl. The restrictive formation had cut off the connection between the 9-yin pearl and the immortal pagoda. Now that the restrictive formation was broken, the 9-yin pearl immediately entered the immortal pagoda and fused with it. The aura of the immortal pagoda was constantly changing and rising. Yang Hongwu's strength was also constantly improving. He had actually risen another level, reaching level 3 of the divine realm. After reaching level 3 of the divine realm, it was even more difficult to raise his strength. He thought that he would be able to reach level 4 of the divine realm this time, but there were no changes. Of course, Yang Hongwu's clone, the psychic cat clone, had also gained a huge benefit, and his fighting strength had undergone another transformation. Congratulations, your strength has increased. Although Kong Qiu was feeling pained, he didn't show it on his face. Instead, he looked happy as he looked at Yang Hongwu. Yang Hongwu had already noticed the change in Kong Qiu. As long as his original body didn't come down, Kong Qiu couldn't do anything to him. Of course, even if his original body came down, Kong Qiu might not be able to do anything to him. I have to thank Senior for your help this time. If not for the 9-yin pearl that you gave me, I would still be at level 1 of the divine realm, Yang Hongwu said with a smile. Indeed, if this guy didn't take out the 9-yin pearl, he wouldn't be able to do anything to him. This guy's strength was beyond his expectations. Even if he was sealed here, he couldn't do anything to him. No, I didn't help you. This is the result of your own efforts. Kong Qiu shook his head and said, Your talent is outstanding. However, I'm curious. How did you break the restrictive formation just now? Are you a restrictive formation master? Kong Qiu miscalculated, but he didn't understand how Lin Fan broke his restrictive formation. With Kong Qiu's strength, he was very confident in the restrictive formation that he had set up. Even a saint-level restrictive formation master wouldn't be able to break this restrictive formation so easily. Moreover, it would cause him such a huge backlash. He must have some special treasure or some other secret technique. He had to figure it out and get it. If he could get the secret, he might be able to break the restrictive formation and escape. He had been trapped here for tens of thousands of years. It wasn't a good feeling at all. This was a rare opportunity. More importantly, this guy's physique was very strong and his physique was very special. If he could seize his body, not only would he be able to regain his freedom, his strength would also have the chance to reach a higher level. Of course, there were people who had entered this place over the years. However, those people's physiques were too weak. Their physiques weren't as strong as this guy's, and their sea of consciousness was far inferior. They couldn't bear his soul and primordial spirit. Once he seized the body, the possibility of failure was too high. It was almost impossible to succeed. However, this guy could. Thinking of this, a demonic rune flashed in the depths of Kong Chio's eyes. This demonic rune flashed and disappeared. Even Yang Hongwu didn't notice it. Yang Hongwu shook his head and said, "I'm not a restrictive formation master. However, I accidentally found some pills in an ancient relic. These pills are very special. They're called restriction-breaking pills. They can break restrictive formations. However, there aren't many of them, so I don't dare to use them casually. However, I've used these restriction-breaking pills several times in the past, and all the restrictive formations I encountered were broken." Chapter 682. Mutual Calculation. That's right. It's the seal-breaking pill. I got it by accident. I used a few of them just now. Now there are only 2 left. In fact, Yang Hongwu could concoct countless seal-breaking pills as long as he had enough materials. However, Yang Hongwu was not stupid enough to say it out loud. It was a huge secret. "Let me have a look." Kong Chio was a little excited. Seal-breaking pills. If there was such a magical thing, then he could use these pills to break the seal that sealed him. At that time, he would not need to possess the body. It would be better if he could go out with his original body. Although Yang Hongwu's physical body was very good and he was very talented, he was still inferior to Kong Chio. Kong Chio's physical body and talent were not as good as Yang Hongwu's, but they were not too bad. Moreover, once his original body came out, he would be able to recover to his peak state in a short time. If he were to take over Yang Hongwu's body, who knew how long it would take for him to recover to his peak state? Moreover, there was another reason. Possession was extremely dangerous. If he was not careful, he could be doomed eternally. For a person with great luck like Yang Hongwu, the difficulty of seizing his body was not ordinary. If an accident happened, it would be troublesome. Therefore, possession was something that would only be done as a last resort. If it wasn't a last resort, no one would choose to possess someone else's body. Of course, for those who had poor aptitudes but met those super geniuses, such people would do anything for the sake of their future and improvement. There were also those who had reached the limit of their lifespan. In order to continue living, they would fight with their lives on the line. This was very normal. However, not everyone would have such an opportunity. Possession wasn't as simple as one would imagine. Not everyone knew about the possession technique. There weren't many people who truly understood the possession technique. It would be great if there was a seal-breaking pill that could break the seal. Therefore, when he heard that Yang Hongwu had a pill that could break the seal, how could he not be shocked and happy? Here. The corner of Yang Hongwu's mouth curled up into a smile. The fish had taken the bait. This guy wanted to deal with him, and what was worse was that he wanted to take over his body. If Yang Hongwu didn't teach him a lesson, he would be letting himself down. Moreover, he still wanted the spiritual vein below him. Who was this guy? Was it really Kong Chio? Was it the Kong Chio who had turned into a demon? No matter what, he had to teach him a lesson now. If he really wanted to fight, he was no match for him, but he could think of various ways to deal with him. Everyone had their own weaknesses, and this guy obviously had one as well. Now, it could be seen that his desire for the restriction-breaking pill surpassed his desire to possess Yi Shiwen's body. This guy should be the same as the Earth Demon Emperor sealed here. In other words, this guy was on the same side as the Earth Demon Emperor. They were both demons, but this guy's status, strength, and even the number of years he had been sealed here was much older and stronger than the Earth Demon Emperor. Yang Hongwu was curious. How did this guy know so much? Sage Confucius, Great Emperor Pangu, and so on. How did he know all these? Did he use some special method to learn all these from his memory, or did he know all these from the beginning? If he knew all these from his memory, then this guy was really too terrifying. If he knew all these from the beginning and came from Earth, then it would be better, and Yang Hongwu wouldn't be so worried. If this guy had obtained the information from his memories, then this guy was too terrifying. He was able to obtain his memories silently. Such a person was the most terrifying. As the saying goes, know thyself and know thy enemy, and thou shalt be victorious in every battle. If he didn't know all his cards were exposed in front of him, how tragic would that be? However, Yang Hongwu thought about it again and breathed a sigh of relief. If he really knew so much from his memory, then he should also know about the restriction-breaking pill in his memory, and he wouldn't be so excited. Thinking of this, Yang Hongwu was relieved. At least he was sure of one thing. This guy couldn't read his memory, but got the information from other places. Or, this guy really came from Earth, but he wasn't Sage Confucius. He might be a devil. Or perhaps, this guy had killed someone from Earth and obtained his memories. Or perhaps, he had taken over someone else's body. However, no matter what the result was, it wasn't a good thing. It proved that this guy was not a good person, otherwise, he wouldn't be sealed here. Moreover, he wouldn't have the demonic nature to refine those flying dragons into demonic dragons. A strong person, no matter what kind of strong person, to reach the peak, they had to step on countless people's corpses and bones to grow. Even Sage Confucius, a person with great merit. Yang Hongwu wouldn't be so stupid to believe that they really came to this world without any bloody means or killing people. Yang Hongwu wasn't a fool. Even on Earth, Sage Confucius was praised in all kinds of ways, but was he really like that? Didn't he do anything wrong? Of course not. It was just that these shortcomings and these mistakes were not recorded. Yang Hongwu believed that even a real sage was wrong. Of course, this sage didn't mean the sage in this world. That saint referred to a person with great merit and great wisdom, not a cultivator who had reached a certain level of cultivation. The sage in the martial arts realm could be called the sage of the heavenly path. The restriction-breaking pill was grabbed by Kong Chiu. It was so fast that the pill in Yang Hongwu's hand disappeared and fell into Kong Chiu's hand before he noticed it. This guy's strength was really too terrifying and powerful. Until now, Yang Hongwu really realized how terrifying this guy was. The two restriction-breaking pills in Yang Hongwu's hand were not 7th-grade restriction-breaking pills, but 6th-grade ones. The 7th-grade restriction-breaking pills had been used by Yang Hongwu. He thought that if he gave this guy a perfect 7th-grade restriction-breaking pill, if he really used it to break the restriction and break the seal, then he would be the unlucky one. Chapter 683. The successor of the God-refining Great Emperor. It's indeed mysterious. I wonder which great emperor of the alchemy Tao refined it. It's simply unbelievable. He was shocked after obtaining the pill. Could it be that he has also come to this plane? Kong Chiu muttered. Who is he? In our world, there's a powerful alchemist, a true expert called Taishang Laojun. You should know that he's extremely powerful. He's one of the top existences in our plane. In our world, he's called a sage. However, he's not the sage of this world. In fact, the sage of our world is only equivalent to a golden immortal. The sage of the other world is equivalent to a great emperor. Taishang Laojun? Yang Hongwu obviously knew about it. Who was Taishang Laojun? He was a powerful sage, the leader of a sect. He was a true sage. His primordial spirit was placed in the void, immortal and indestructible. Of course, he didn't know if the great emperor of this world was immortal or not. Yang Hongwu's cultivation had yet to reach that level, so he didn't know about it. However, there was one thing that he knew, and that was that the saints in his world were truly powerful. What was the relationship between this world and that world? Yang Hongwu didn't know either. Moreover, he didn't know if the secret alchemy technique he obtained was related to Taishang Laojun or if it was passed down by him. Did you only get these few pills? Kong Qiu asked while looking at the pills in his hand. Although these 2 medicinal pills were of some help to him, they weren't very useful. These 2 medicinal pills weren't enough to open the seal. If he wanted to open his seal, he would need a pill that was at least tier 8 or above. Therefore, what he wanted now was not the elixir, but the alchemy method. Once he got the alchemy method, he might be able to refine a restriction-breaking elixir that was above the 8th grade to break these restrictions. However, it wasn't an easy task. The problem now was that this guy only had pills. Of course, he might have a pill concoction technique, but Kong Qiu didn't think so. After all, the pill concoction technique was too mysterious and shocking. In other words, this pill refining art was definitely more impressive than monarch art. Perhaps emperor techniques were created by seizing the fortune of heaven and earth, but the art of alchemy was an existence that surpassed emperor technique. The restriction-breaking pill was a pill that could break through powerful and mysterious restrictions even in the hands of ordinary people. With these pills, those ancient restrictions would not be able to withstand a single blow. Since there was a limit-breaking pill, wouldn't there be other pills as well? For example, the formation-breaking pill? There were even offensive pills or restriction pills. It had to be said that Kong Qiu was a smart guy. From the limit-breaking pill, he was able to connect many things, and his guesses were not far from the truth. This was his true strength. Yes. Yang Hongwu nodded. There are only a few limit-breaking pills. I'm talking about other pills. If there are limit-breaking pills, will there be formation-breaking pills, or something like that? Kong Qiu looked at Yang Hongwu with a burning gaze. Yang Hongwu shook his head. There are no other pills, only limit-breaking pills. Are there any books or jade slips? Kong Qiu asked again. No. Of course, Yang Hongwu knew what Kong Qiu was up to. In fact, he had the alchemy technique of the limit-breaking pill, and so did the jade slip. However, Yang Hongwu wasn't stupid enough to tell Kong Qiu that he had concocted the pill himself. Kong Qiu didn't believe him. Since he had the pills, there must be other pills, but he didn't say it out loud. However, it was impossible for Kong Qiu to force him to say it out loud. After knowing these things, Kong Qiu was even more determined not to let Yang Hongwu go. You really don't have it? It doesn't make sense. Where did you get these pills? Kong Qiu asked again. It was in an ancient ruin. Back then, I used the Great Shift Talisman and encountered spatial turbulence. I entered that ruin and experienced a narrow escape. Only then did I obtain these pills. There were other things inside, but I didn't have the strength to do so. Yang Hongwu's performance was definitely top-notch, at the level of an award-winning actor. He believed that there were ancient ruins, but Yang Hongwu didn't get anything other than some pills. It was impossible for him to believe that. Moreover, Yang Hongwu wasn't a simple person. He had great luck and great talent. He was a person who was favored by the heavens. In fact, those who were able to enter this world from that space, without exception, were all people who possessed extremely strong luck. Whether it was Pangu or others, everyone was one of the protagonists of luck in that side of the world, just like himself. Therefore, if he obtained this medicinal pill, it would definitely not be just these. There would definitely be other things. And it was precisely because his luck was so great that it was even more terrifying than Kong Chiu's own that Kong Chiu was so hesitant when he thought about seizing Yang Hongwu's body. Because if the seizing failed, Kong Chiu might really be doomed eternally. Of course, if Kong Chiu's original body came down and Yang Hongwu hadn't grown up yet, seizing Yang Hongwu's body wouldn't be impossible. Once Kong Chiu succeeded, he would seize Yang Hongwu's body and obtain his luck. His strength would undergo a huge change. What kind of ruins are they? How do we enter? Kong Chiu asked. I don't know. Yang Hongwu said. As I said, I entered by accident. When I came out, I was also transported out. Kong Chiu knew that Yang Hongwu wasn't telling the truth, but he didn't want to shed all pretense of cordiality at this time. Instead, he shook his head and sighed. It's a pity, it's really a pity. If you can leave some information in that relic, a spatial imprint or some coordinates, that would be great. If I'm not mistaken, that relic was left behind by Grand Supreme Elderly Lord. As a person from our world, you should know how powerful Grand Supreme Elderly Lord is. Grand Supreme Elderly Lord is one of the most powerful people in our world. His strength is terrifying, and even the refined God Great Emperor has to give him some face in this world. Grand Supreme Elderly Lord is one of the strongest great emperors in the 9 heavens, 10 earths. Even Kong Chiu himself couldn't help but admire him. Although Kong Chiu and Grand Supreme Elderly Lord were sworn enemies, Kong Chiu was sealed here because of Grand Supreme Elderly Lord. At the mention of Grand Supreme Elderly Lord, Kong Chiu's eyes flashed with a cold light. He finally remembered that although this kid had the soul aura of that side of the world, he also had the aura of Grand Supreme Elderly Lord. He cultivated Grand Supreme Elderly Lord's cultivation method, which meant that this kid was the successor of Grand Supreme Elderly Lord. No wonder he could enter this place with his current cultivation. If he was the successor of Grand Supreme Elderly Lord, then it wouldn't be strange at all. Chapter 684. Entry Martial Technique. Kong Chiu's eyes were filled with hatred when he thought of the God Refinement Great Emperor. Back then, it was none other than the God Refinement Emperor who had sealed him here, preventing him from seeing the light of day. Damn it, damn it! The God Refinement Great Emperor's strength was undeniable. No one in the 9 heavens and 10 earths could match him. Of course, that was excluding those who had left the 9 heavens and 10 earth. However, after so many years, Kong Chiu wondered if the God Refinement Great Emperor was still in the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Now that the guy in front of him was his disciple, he wondered if the old man was still in this world. If he could possess Yang Hongwu and obtain the God Refinement Great Emperor's inheritance, he was confident that he could find the God Refinement Great Emperor's weakness and defeat him. Because of the God Refinement Great Emperor's situation, Kong Chiu made up his mind to possess Yang Hongwu no matter what. He wanted to bring Yi Futian's true body down here and possess him. His hatred for the God Refinement Great Emperor had reached an unimaginable level. The legendary strongest Great Emperor, the God Refinement Great Emperor? Yang Hongwu asked. That's right. He's the strongest Great Emperor. Kong Chiu said, If I'm not wrong, you must have obtained part of the inheritance of the refined God Great Emperor. Not bad, not bad. You're really lucky to have obtained part of the inheritance of the refined God Great Emperor. It's a pity that you didn't obtain the complete inheritance. Otherwise, your strength would be much greater than this. The refined God Great Emperor was the most powerful Great Emperor. His strength was extremely terrifying. He was an invincible existence in the 9 heavens and 10 earth. If you obtained the complete inheritance, I'm afraid that you would have broken through to the venerable realm or even higher. Yang Hongwu's eyes widened. The God Refinement Great Emperor's inheritance? Senior, you're saying that I obtained the God Refinement Great Emperor's inheritance? I only obtained a mental cultivation technique by accident. Could it be the God Refinement Great Emperor's inheritance? That's not right. It's just an ordinary mental cultivation technique. There's nothing special about it. I only cultivated it to stabilize my mind. Ordinary? Hearing this, Kong Chiu chuckled and said faintly, "How can the cultivation method of the refined God Great Emperor be ordinary? If I'm not mistaken, what you're cultivating is the foundational cultivation technique of Emperor refinement of the God Refining Great Emperor. It's just that you haven't cultivated it to the highest level yet. If you can cultivate it to the Great Perfection realm, you'll be able to obtain the follow-up cultivation technique. I've interacted with Emperor refinement of the God Refining Great Emperor before. You have the aura of Emperor refinement of the God Refining Great Emperor. It's just that you haven't cultivated to that level yet, so you haven't obtained his inheritance. Senior, how can I obtain the inheritance of God Refining Great Emperor? Yang Hongwu asked. Of course, Yang Hongwu wanted to obtain the inheritance of the God Refining Great Emperor. Even though Yang Hongwu had the 9 transformations yin-yang harmony art, no, it should be the 9 heavens divine dragon technique. He was no exception. The inheritance of Emperor refinement of the God Refining Great Emperor was the strongest person in the 9 heavens 10 earths, the strongest Great Emperor. He was the one and only person in the 9 heavens 10 earth. From Kong Chiu's tone, it seemed like it wasn't just the 9 heavens 10 earths, it wasn't just the Great Emperor, but also the realm above the Great Emperor. Those who were stronger than the Great Emperor, and those who had surpassed the Great Emperor, had all left the 9 heavens 10 earths. As for Pangu and the others, they had left the 9 heavens 10 earths for a higher level, or rather, a wider space. Well, I don't know either. However, if you cultivate your current psychic power cultivation method, which is the foundation cultivation method of Emperor refinement of the God Refining Great Emperor, to the Great Perfection realm, there should be a hint. Or perhaps the place where you obtained this cultivation method will give you a hint, said Kong Chiu. Yang Hongwu was a little disappointed by his words. It was as if he didn't say anything. However, it wasn't easy to cultivate the God Refining Heart Sutra to the Great Perfection realm. Yang Hongwu had been cultivating it for so long, but he hadn't been able to cultivate it to the Great Perfection realm. Moreover, his cultivation speed was getting slower and slower. Recently, his God Refining Heart Sutra hadn't improved at all. However, on second thought, it was understandable. After all, it was the cultivation technique of Emperor refinement of the God Refining Great Emperor. Even if it was just a basic cultivation technique, it wasn't that simple. Yang Hongwu guessed that the formation back then existed to test the inheritor. The 7 formations were just a basic test. Once passed, one would be able to obtain the God Refining Heart Sutra, which was also a proof to enter the God Refining Great Emperor's inheritance. After obtaining this proof and cultivating it to the Great Perfection realm, one would have the chance to enter the God Refining Great Emperor's inheritance test. It was just a chance. If one obtained the God Refining Heart Sutra and failed to cultivate it to the Great Perfection realm, they wouldn't even have the chance to become the inheritor of Emperor refinement of the God Refining Great Emperor. Of course, all of this was just Yang Hongwu's guess. Whether it was true or not, he wouldn't know. He would have to wait until he cultivated the God Refining Heart Sutra to the Great Perfection realm to know. Thank you for your reminder, Senior. However, I'm afraid I won't have the chance. I've obtained this spiritual cultivation technique for a long time. I've only made some progress at the beginning. Now I haven't made any progress for a long time. Yang Hongwu smiled bitterly. This wasn't an act, it was the truth. The difficulty of cultivating the God Refining Heart Sutra was beyond Yang Hongwu's expectations. Yang Hongwu even felt that this cultivation technique was more difficult than cultivating the 9 transformation yin-yang harmony art. Since you've obtained this cultivation technique, it's enough to prove that you're qualified to become the inheritor of Emperor refinement of the God Refining Great Emperor. However, Emperor refinement of the God Refining Great Emperor's cultivation technique isn't that easy to obtain, nor is it easy to cultivate. Think about it, in the entire 9 heavens and 10 earths, there's only one person on the same level as Emperor Refinement of the God-refining Great Emperor. If such a super genius cultivation technique was that easy to cultivate, Emperor Refinement of the God-refining Great Emperor wouldn't be an invincible Great Emperor. Kong Qiu couldn't help but laugh when he heard Yang Hongwu's words. That's true. Chapter 685. The Sea of Destruction. Senior, do you know about the Mountain of Death? Yang Hongwu thought for a while. Since this guy was here, it was impossible for him to get the spiritual vein below. Yang Hongwu was not willing to take the risk. However, he had already gained a lot of benefits. One should be content with what one had. Greed was like a snake trying to swallow an elephant. That was not a good thing. Those who were too greedy usually did not have a good ending. Yang Hongwu was very clear about this. There was a time when one should stop before going too far. Those who were too greedy usually died miserably. As the saying goes, those who are content with what they have will always be happy. What's more, Yang Hongwu had already obtained the greatest benefit. 29 pearls. This could be said to be a huge gain, far exceeding his expectations. The Mountain of Death? Kong Qiu said. Of course I know about it. The Mountain of Death was the entrance to the sorcerer tribe. Kong Qiu said. Senior, can you tell me? Yang Hongwu was pleasantly surprised. If he could learn something about the sorcerer tribe and the Mountain of Death from this guy, it would be a great thing. However, Yang Hongwu knew that this guy might not tell him everything he knew. The Mountain of Death is full of dangers. A long time ago, it was the sorcerer tribe's encampment. However, there was a great change in the sorcerer tribe. The sorcerer tribe encountered a huge disaster, which led to the extinction of the sorcerer tribe. Therefore, the Mountain of Death became a place of death. It is said that there is an ancestral sorcerer palace in the Mountain of Death. It is the inheritance place of the 12 ancestral sorcerers. Each of the 12 ancestral sorcerers is extremely powerful. Kong Qiu said. It is said that the 12 ancestral sorcerers fell in the war with the demon tribe in the untainted land. In fact, they did not really fall. They came here, to the space of the 9 heavens shitty. Here, the 12 ancestral sorcerers, no, the 11 ancestral sorcerers, and the 2 powerful demon emperors, Di Jun and Dong Wang Tai, appeared in the 9 heavens shitty. They opened up 2 spaces, which are the ancestral land of the sorcerer tribe in the savage land. They are called the sorcerer world and the demon world. The Death Mountain used to be the entrance to the sorcerer world. If you can enter the sorcerer world and obtain the inheritance of the sorcerer tribe and the power of the sorcerer ancestor, then your strength will reach an unimaginable level. Of course, the entrance to the sorcerer world is not that easy to find. The Death Mountain is full of dangers. Even a true venerable realm expert would have a slim chance of survival if he enters. There is no restriction of the heavenly law in the ancient domain. There are even saint realm monsters in the Death Mountain. With your current strength, it's too dangerous for you to enter the sorcerer world. The entrance to the sorcerer's world? Not even 1 in 10,000 chance? Yang Hongwu did not know whether it was true or not. But if it was true, then the so-called ruins of the Sorcerer Palace was the legendary Sorcerer World. Once he found the Sorcerer World, it was equal to finding a huge treasure. The 12 ancestral sorcerers, no, the 11 ancestral sorcerers. Hotu, one of the 12 ancestral sorcerers, was reincarnated in the untainted land. He opened up the underworld, which gave the untainted land a place for reincarnation. Of course, all these were just legends. But now, Yang Hongwu had already believed many things. Those so-called legends in fact did exist. It was just that ordinary people had no way to get in touch with them. Senior, are you kidding me? In fact, this place was still the ancient realm. It was suppressed by the law. How could there be a sage? The probability of 1 in 10,000 was too low. Yang Hongwu did not believe that he was so weak. Do I look like I'm kidding? With your current strength, you may be invincible in the divine realm. But if you enter the Death Mountain, it will be different. The reason why the Death Mountain is called this name is because people who entered the Death Mountain have never come out. Since the Great War of the Sorcerer and Demon race, the Sorcerer and Demon race were both thrown into the space turbulence and turned into ashes. The entrance of the Sorcerer world and the Demon world became the Death Mountain and the Destruction Sea. The entrance of the Sorcerer world is the Death Mountain, and the entrance of the Demon world is in the Destruction Sea. These two places are the most terrifying places in the ancient realm. For tens of thousands of years, no one who entered these two places came out alive. The Death Mountain and the Destruction Sea? If the Death Mountain is here, where is the Destruction Sea? Yang Hongwu asked. He had to go into the Death Mountain to check it out. But if the Death Mountain was really as terrifying as he said, he really needed to think about it. Now that Yang Hongwu knew about the Destruction Sea, of course, he wanted to know more about it. The Destruction Sea and the Death Mountain are opposite each other. However, they are very far apart. At the junction of this continent and the other continent, there is an endless ocean, full of dangers. Back then, the Demon Master Kuanpeng of the Demon world used his great power to open up a space in the Destruction Sea. Dong Wang Tai used his supreme strength to break open the void and opened up the Demon world. Kong Qiu said, "That's how the Demon realm was born." However, the Demon tribe and the Sorcerer tribe are sworn enemies. Even in Jiutian Shidi, there's no exception. It's because of this deep hatred that the two tribes won't rest until one of them is dead. The Great War of Sorcerer and Demon happened again in Jiutian Shidi. Do the Demon world and the Sorcerer world really exist? What happened during the war that caused the Sorcerer and Demon race to disappear? Are they sealed in the Sorcerer world and the Demon world? Yang Hongwu asked. I don't know about this. Kong Qiu shook his head and said, when I came to Jiutian Shidi, the war between the Sorcerer and Demon race had already happened. No matter what, I'm still going to explore the Mountain of Death. Yang Hongwu said, I advise you not to go. Unless your cultivation has reached the peak of the Exalted Realm, you might be able to explore the outer regions. However, it's still not enough if you want to go deeper. Unless you're able to advance to the Saint Realm, you'll really die if you go there. Hearing Yang Hongwu's words, Kong Qiu was a little anxious. This reckless kid, is the Death Mountain so easy to enter? For so many years, no one who went deep into the Death Mountain came out. It was not because they found the entrance to the Sorcerer world, but because they were really dead. The Soul Jade Tablet was broken, which meant that they were dead. Chapter 686. The dagger was revealed. If this kid was going to the Death Mountain or the Ocean of Destruction, then wouldn't he fail to achieve his goal? This was not what Kong Qiu wanted to see. Instead of going to those places to die, it would be better to let him possess his body. Of course, he wouldn't say that out loud. Even if it's only 1 in 10,000 chance of survival, it's still a chance. Yang Hongwu smiled and said confidently. Kong Qiu smiled bitterly and said, Do you know what a 1 in 10,000 chance means? This is only the probability of finding the entrance to the Sorcerer's realm. The probability of entering the Sorcerer's realm is almost equivalent to death. Moreover, even if you find the entrance to the Sorcerer's realm and enter it, the Sorcerer's realm is still full of dangers. The dangers inside are no less than the Death Mountain. Senior, you don't have to persuade me. Since I've already made my decision, I'll definitely go. Senior, thank you very much. If you didn't give me the 9 pearl, I wouldn't have been able to break through so easily. Yang Hongwu said and prepared to leave. He knew that he wouldn't be able to get any more information from Kong Qiu. Think about it carefully. If you go to the Death Mountain, you'll definitely die. Even if I was at my peak, I wouldn't have the slightest confidence. Kong Qiu looked at Yang Hongwu and said. At this moment, Kong Qiu had already made up his mind. If this guy really wanted to leave, then he had to find a way to make him stay. Even if it was just a clone, he had to make him stay. As long as he could trap the clone, then his true body would definitely think of a way to protect the clone. Senior, you don't have to say that. Senior, there's no need to say more. Going to the Death Mountain is a must. A month later, I will face a battle of life and death. It's a very important battle. My opponent's strength is terrifying. If I haven't broken through to the Zunqi realm, I won't be a match for him. He's too strong, unimaginably strong. Moreover, this battle concerns the fate of the entire ancient domain and the entire 9 heavens and 10 earth. Therefore, I have no choice but to go to the Death Mountain. Concerns the fate of the 9 heavens and 10 earths? What's going on? Hearing this, Kong Qiu was a little surprised. He was just an early divine realm kid. How could his battle affect the fate of the entire 9 heavens and 10 earths? This was pure nonsense. It was impossible. In the 9 heavens and 10 earths, experts were as common as clouds. Who knew how many great emperors there were? If it was something that even the great emperors couldn't handle, how could he possibly stop it? What a joke. I won't lie to you, Senior. That's a devil, the remnant soul of a terrifying devil, Yang Hongwu said. The remnant soul of a devil. I've never heard of a devil with such terrifying strength, to be able to threaten the entire 9 heavens and 10 earths with just a remnant soul. This is absolutely impossible. The 9 heavens and 10 earths are filled with capable people, experts are as common as the clouds. A mere remnant soul of a devil is nothing to worry about. Kong Qiu's eyes narrowed and turned cold. He looked at Yang Hongwu and said, "Even if you want to lie, you should find a better excuse." Liar? No, that's not it. Yang Hongwu could see that this guy had already made up his mind to kill him. His true face was finally about to be revealed. "Then tell me, which devil is it?" Kong Qiu said. "Ever since I, Kong Qiu, came to this world, I've been through countless battles and encountered countless devils. I don't know all the devils in the 9 heavens and 10 earths, but I'm pretty close to the mark. I remember clearly those powerful devils that could threaten the fate of the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Those devils that could threaten the fate of the 9 heavens and 10 earths have long been killed. None of them exist." Yang Hongwu sneered in his heart. "Devil? Actually, you're a devil yourself, a great devil. However, compared to the devil in the Earth Spirit Palace, you're still far from it. The devil in the Earth Spirit Palace was the real terrifying existence. At his peak, his strength might even surpass that of a great emperor. Although Kong Qiu was strong, he was at most at the level of a great emperor. I wonder if Senior has heard of the soul-suppressing tablet?" Yang Hongwu asked. Soul-suppressing tablet? Kong Qiu's expression changed drastically. The soul-suppressing tablet was famous. How could he not have heard of it? It was an existence that surpassed an emperor weapon. It could suppress all souls. Even a great emperor would be easily suppressed. You've seen the soul-suppressing tablet? The soul-suppressing steel was a powerful weapon, but no one dared to have any ideas about it. This was because even a great emperor would have to flee if they encountered the soul-suppressing steel. Anyone who had any ideas about the soul-suppressing steel would have their soul suppressed and devoured. Kong Qiu had once witnessed the power of the soul-suppressing tablet. Back then, several great emperors had teamed up in an attempt to subdue the soul-suppressing tablet. In the end, the soul-suppressing tablet only needed a single strike to suppress the great emperors. Only their physical bodies remained while their souls were devoured by the soul-suppressing tablet. One could see how terrifying the soul-suppressing tablet was. Yang Hongwu nodded. "Yes, I've seen it before. The soul-suppressing tablet suppressed a terrifying demon. A strand of the demon's consciousness escaped. Once that strand of consciousness grew stronger, it would definitely release its true body. At that time, the entire 9 heavens 10 earths would be plunged into misery and suffering. It might even be completely destroyed. If that was the case, then it would be terrifying. However, Kong Qiu didn't believe it. This was probably a lie made up by this brat. This brat was extremely smart. He already knew his purpose long ago. He wanted to escape from his hands, so he made up such a lie. However, all of this was futile. Even if it was true, so what? He had enough of being sealed in this damned place. Whether 9 heavens 10 earths could be saved or destroyed, what did it have to do with him? Destruction was destruction. He wasn't from 9 heavens 10 earths in the first place. So, no matter what, I have to go to the Death Mountain. Even if I'm going to die, I have to try. Yang Hongwu said and began to leave. With a thought, he turned into a ray of light and headed outside. Hold on. Kong Qiu finally revealed his true face. His whole body was emitting a thick demonic aura. The demonic aura condensed into a huge hand and grabbed at Yang Hongwu. You should stay. It's not good for you to leave after getting what's mine, Kong Qiu said. Senior, what do you mean by this? Yang Hongwu's face darkened. This fellow was really intending to make him stay behind. Damn it. Chapter 687. Demonic Saints. Yang Hongwu's expression changed. He finally couldn't help but look at him and ask, Senior, who exactly are you? Confucius would never do that. You're wrong. I'm Kong Qiu, said Kong Qiu. I'm the sage Kong you're talking about. Even if you are Kong Qiu, you are a Kong Qiu who has been possessed by the devil. Yang Hongwu said coldly, It's just a devil. Or rather, it's just a doppelganger of the devil Dao. Haha, not bad. You're not bad. None of the people from the great desolate 3 realms are weak. Unfortunately, you haven't grown up yet. If I give you another 1,000 years, I won't be able to do anything to you. However, you're still too weak now. Kong Qiu laughed, and his entire person changed. The originally refined scholar was suddenly surrounded by devil qi. After saying that, Kong Qiu moved. A huge hand condensed in the void and grabbed at Yang Hongwu's clone. The powerful pressure made Yang Hongwu unable to move. He had no power to resist at all. Kong Qiu's strength was too terrifying. Even if he was sealed, he was still very powerful. This big hand wanted to grab Yang Hongwu. Yang Hongwu's expression changed slightly. If he hadn't been sealed, he probably wouldn't have been able to escape this time. It was too terrifying. A great emperor, it was definitely the means of a great emperor. If it wasn't a great emperor, then it was at least a great sage realm. Yi Qi turning San Qing, abandon the doppelganger. Yang Hongwu roared. The spiritual cat clone self-detonated, abandoning this clone. With a beam of light, Yang Hongwu's doppelganger instantly exploded. The psychic cat doppelganger's strength had already reached the honorable realm. When it exploded at this time, the power was extremely terrifying. The entire surroundings were blown up. It was earth-shattering and heaven and earth collapsed. A huge shockwave surged upward, shattering the towering ancient trees in the surroundings. The terrifying power seemed to form a huge heavenly pillar that shot straight into the clouds, as if it was going to enter the 9 heavens. Even the sky was about to be pierced through, creating a huge hole. Damn it, you want to leave? It won't be that easy. If I let you escape like this, where will I put my face? Kong Qiu snorted coldly as he clenched his hand, forming a terrifying suction force to grab onto Yang Hongwu's soul. That terrifying explosive force collided with the seal, but the seal wasn't damaged at all. The void hand trembled a little under the impact of this terrifying force, but very quickly, it dissipated and continued to grab onto Yang Hongwu, forming a strange force that was pulling on Yang Hongwu's soul. Yang Hongwu felt that his Yuan spirit avatar was being pulled in by a powerful suction force. The suction force grew stronger and stronger, and his speed became slower and slower. This made Yang Hongwu's expression change drastically. If his primordial spirit avatar was caught, he would be in trouble. Self-destruct? Yang Hongwu hesitated. Once his Yuan spirit avatar self-destructed, it would have a considerable impact on his true body. Just now, His Yuan spirit had withdrawn from the psychic cat avatar and allowed the psychic cat avatar to self-destruct. In truth, it was only the puppet avatar that had self-destructed. When the Yuan spirit avatar left and the psychic cat avatar self-destructed, it wouldn't cause any damage to his true body. At most, he would lose some of his energy. But the self-destruction of a Yuan spirit avatar was different. The Yuan spirit was one of the sources of a martial artist. If it exploded, it would inevitably cause great damage to the body. As Yang Hongwu hesitated, the giant hand had already reached out to grab him. So fast. Yang Hongwu's complexion sank. Dragon soars to the highest heavens. Battle spirit possession, and then dragon soars to the highest heavens. Battle spirit possession was naturally the true body. With the strength of the true body increasing, the strength of this Yuan spirit avatar would also become formidable. With an extremely fast speed, he dodged. "You think you can escape?" Kong Qiu coldly snorted. A black barrier appeared in the void, isolating Yang Hongwu's Yuan spirit avatar from his true body. However, Yang Hongwu couldn't let him do as he wished. "Demon-slaying finger, go!" Yang Hongwu's true body's eyes burst with light. He pointed a finger at the void. This was the demon-slaying finger. A giant golden finger seemed to pierce through the heavens and earth, stabbing towards the demon hand condensed by Kong Qiu's power. Pung! The power of the demon-killing finger was the nemesis of demons. Regardless of whether the current Kong Qiu was the real Kong Qiu or the real Kong Qiu, one thing was certain. This guy's current power wasn't the awe-inspiring righteousness, but a power that was completely opposite to it. If he was the real Kong Qiu, then his power would be overwhelming righteousness. Overwhelming righteousness was the purest power between heaven and earth. It was the power of righteousness, not demonic qi. If overwhelming righteousness met the demon-slaying finger, not only would it not weaken the power of the demon-slaying finger, but it would also increase the attack power of the demon-slaying finger. Of course, if the demon-slaying finger met a martial artist with overwhelming righteousness, its lethality would be greatly reduced. The golden finger collided with the giant black hand, erupting with an intense light. When the giant black hand met the golden light, it began to melt like snow meeting the sun. In the next moment there was a huge explosion. The giant hand was blown to pieces, and the golden finger turned into a golden light, like a golden arrow. With a whoosh, it shot towards Kong Qiu. "Bastard, what kind of cultivation technique is this?" Kong Qiu was furious. He condensed a talisman, which was a huge Confucian character. However, this Confucian character was different from ordinary Confucian characters. It was black and had a strange, evil power. Demon? This was the power of demons. There were two sides to everything. Confucius was a saint, but he also had an evil side. The person in front of him was probably Kong Qiu, the negative personality of Confucius. This negative personality was separated by Confucius. He did not expect it to become so strong, even stronger than the original body. In the end, it was sealed here by God-refining great emperor. Therefore, he knew and knew everything that Confucius knew. However, it was the complete opposite of Saint Kong's true body when it was used by the demonic Saint Kong. It's as hateful as the one that guy used. How annoying. The black Confucian character was very domineering. The golden arrow of Yang Hongwu's demon-slaying finger was shattered, and the huge Confucian character changed. "Sacrifice for a righteous cause," Kong Qiu chanted, and the black Confucian character changed. It turned into a powerful warrior, holding a long sword, full of killing intent. He swung the long sword, slashing towards Yang Hongwu. This was Confucius's ultimate technique. Those with ambition should sacrifice for a righteous cause. Chapter 688. 9 Immortals Spirit Binding Formation. Yang Hongwu's face was very solemn. This guy was really serious. Yang Hongwu felt a terrifying threat coming from the warrior formed by the Ru. The long sword in his hand seemed to be able to destroy a person's mind and soul. "Master, let me do it." A voice rang out in Yang Hongwu's mind. This was the weapon spirit of the immortal pagoda. Yang Hongwu was overjoyed. The weapon spirit of the immortal pagoda had awakened. This meant that his fighting strength would increase greatly. This was all thanks to the 9 pearl of demon Saint Kong Chiu. Without it, who knew how long it would take for the weapon spirit of the immortal pagoda to awaken? Yang Hongwu nodded. "You're the weapon spirit of the immortal pagoda?" "Yes, master." "How confident are you?" Yang Hongwu asked. 100%. The weapon spirit nodded. 100% confident. Yang Hongwu was shocked. He did not expect the weapon spirit of the immortal pagoda to be so confident. One had to know that the strength of demon Saint Kong Chiu was extremely strong. At his peak, he was probably stronger than the real Saint Kong Chiu. It was just that he had been sealed here for so many years. Furthermore, most of his strength had been sealed. His strength was greatly weakened. Otherwise, he would have been finished long ago. The weapon spirit of the immortal pagoda turned into a ray of white light. A beautiful fairy appeared in front of him. In her right hand there was a small pagoda. This small pagoda looked exactly the same as the 9 heavens mysterious pagoda. 9 immortals spirit binding formation. She shouted, and 9 beams of white light shot out from the immortal pagoda. The 9 beams of white light transformed into 9 immortals, who formed a huge formation. This formation had a mysterious power, and seemed to interweave into a huge heavenly net. This heavenly net enveloped Devil Saint Kong Chiu, and it kept shrinking, trapping him and the other immortal warrior. As the heavenly net shrunk, it absorbed the power of the warrior. Demon Saint Kong Chiu and the warrior attacked the heavenly net madly. However, they did not have the slightest bit of strength to break it. Yang Hongwu was shocked. He didn't expect the Immortal Tower's artifact spirit to be so powerful after awakening. What kind of power did this net contain? Even the great devil sage Kong Chiu was trapped, seemingly unable to resist at all. He was too powerful. "Bastard, how is it possible for you to unleash the power of the 9th heaven mysterious Tower with your strength?" Devil Saint Kong Chiu was extremely unwilling to accept this. He had lost a great deal of his strength and had expended a great deal of energy to transmit a portion of his strength out. Although it was only a portion, his true body that was sealed within the grand formation had expended 100 times more energy. Therefore, although this doppelganger only had the power of a venerable, in fact, the power consumed by his original body had far exceeded this level. Every time he launched an attack, it would consume a lot of power. The power consumed was almost equivalent to the full power attack of a great sage. Within the seal, his original body could only absorb a very small amount of energy. Every time he launched an attack, he would need at least 100 years to recover. A single attack had consumed 100 years of accumulated strength. He had only attacked Yang Hongwu a few times, but he had already consumed 1,000 years of accumulated strength. If he couldn't take down this guy, then the consumption would be too great. Not only would he lose 2 9 pearls, but he would also consume a great amount of energy. That was the energy that he had accumulated for thousands of years. How could he accept this? Demonic salvation! Demon Saint Kong Chiu roared. His entire person turned into a giant demon. His face was ferocious as he began to chant some ancient incantations. These ancient incantations reminded Yang Hongwu of the Buddhist sect's cultivation technique. Salvation, the Buddhist sect also had a cultivation technique that could convert demons. However, the cultivation technique that the demon Saint Kong Chiu was currently using was similar. However, the Buddhist sect converted evil people and devils into Buddhas, while the demon Saint Kong Chiu converted ordinary cultivators into devils and made them his slaves. The difference between the two was huge. "You want to convert me?" A cold light flashed in Yang Hongwu's eyes. That was a dream. If his primordial spirit clone was demonized, it would definitely have a huge impact on his original body. If there was really no other way, his primordial spirit could only self-destruct. Yang Hongwu's original body moved again. This time, Yang Hongwu poured all his energy into the immortal pagoda to activate it. In addition to the awakening of the weapon spirit, he poured his energy into the immortal pagoda and launched a powerful attack. Heaven Origin Strike. A terrifying attack appeared in Yang Hongwu's mind. This was a terrifying secret attack of the immortal pagoda. Its power was boundless. Yang Hongwu felt his energy pouring into the immortal pagoda at a terrifying speed. It was as if a dam had been opened. Boom! At the top of the immortal pagoda, a white beam of light shot out. This white beam of light seemed to be able to pierce through time and space and shatter the firmament of the universe. All the obstacles in front of him were shattered and penetrated. This light pillar extended towards the great demon Saint Kong Qiu at an extremely fast speed. The attack landed on Devil Sage Kong Qiu's body. Boom! With a crisp sound, Kong Qiu's body was instantly pierced through. In the next moment, his entire body exploded. That boundless power instantly swept through the entire area. Boom! Rumble! Loud noises kept coming out. In this space, those weak demonic creatures, those demonized wyverns, and so on all died under the impact of this terrifying power. In this narrow space, some of the powerful savage beasts and ferocious beasts were unable to withstand this terrifying power. Even Yang Hongwu himself, who was under the protection of the immortal pagoda, suffered a huge backlash. His body swayed and he spat out blood. Ah! Devil Saint Kong Qiu's original body in the seal trembled and spat out a mouthful of blood. His eyes turned red and he was extremely furious. He was the great demon Saint Kong Qiu. His strength was boundless, and he was much more powerful than Saint Kong himself. Now, he was actually injured by a little kid who had not even reached the venerable realm. Aggrieved, it was really too aggrieved. In the depths of the chaos, a white-bearded old man opened his eyes on a floating immortal mountain outside the 9 majors and 10 lands. The person I've been waiting for has finally appeared. I hope you won't make me wait too long. The white-bearded old man didn't have any aura on him, as if he didn't exist. However, his eyes were extremely deep, like a boundless black hole with no end in sight. This old man was none other than the real Confucius Saint, Confucius. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.